Hey guys, good morning. Hi Bougie Gang. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're early today because Fani is going to be getting on the stand soon. Um, it's right at 9 o'clock and court is supposed to be resuming at 9. I don't know if they're going to go live with coverage immediately because I think they did say they had some things to sort out first thing in the morning. We did cut out like right at the end yesterday, so I guess we're gonna see what happens. But I was thinking, I was also trying to get some overlays done, but I don't know, my system wasn't cooperating with me. LOL, she has been a girl. I guess we can talk a little bit about yesterday too. One of the highlights from yesterday, I'm not gonna lie, is hold on, let me put this up. This was a highlight for me from yesterday. Let me see. When they brought Ma'am on with the glasses, Fonnie was like, I mean, I rented her place, but it wasn't really like that between us. So while we're waiting, let's just remember Miss Ma'am yesterday. They were all up in her face. I guess it would help if I put my headphones on. Good morning, everyone. Let's listen to yesterday. Let's get a little recap from yesterday.
I think we need to make sure. There we go.
Because that was some interesting testimony.
Miss Yurdi, can you hear us?
Miss Yurdi is not playing with Miss Willis, okay? With Madam District Attorney.
Yes.
Would you please state and spell your full name for the court?
Right.
Okay, guys, right now we are recapping. So just in case anyone we are recapping at the moment. We're waiting for them to go live. I expect it momentarily. We don't know if Ma'am is going to walk straight in and go straight to start testifying, but I'm going to have another browser open just to make sure that we are on point with the coverage. Okay. Okay, I don't hear any sound on this one, but that's okay. Okay. So we're waiting. Everybody's waiting. Everyone's standing down, waiting on things to get going. So let's recap. Miss Yurdi seemed to work at the DA's office. Ms. Willis and Miss Yurdi knew each other from college. And had some associations. They had friends in common. What was it? Come through, Lanyard. Okay, Lanyard. So good morning, everyone. Good morning. I put an alert out on Love Lies and Lace Front, so hopefully everyone will join us over here. But yeah, this is Miss Yurdi. Let's get back into it real quick before so really and truly, this could be the whistleblower. Sometimes whistleblowers are anonymous, but maybe she doesn't care. Also, which they don't always have to be. So make no mistake, whistleblowers can be public. At the end of the day, Miss Yurdi is testifying, as we heard, that she became familiar with the relationship back in 2019, that this has been carrying on for a minute. And we've talked about this on the YouTube streets. The dialogue about this is my friend can take on many different meanings. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Let's listen and we'll talk.
It's Yurdi.
Thank you, Ms. Yurdi. Thank you for being here. Can you tell the judge when you first met Miss Willis?
You guys were not feeling this lawyer yesterday.
Okay.
So 19.
Well, not Miss Yurdi. What's her name? Is it Miss Merchant? This particular you guys, I saw some Karen references. So
Probably 90 or 91.
And have you been friends since 1990 or 91?
Yes.
When was the last time you spoke with Miss Willis?
March of 2022.
Okay. From 1991-ish till 2022, were you what you would consider good friends with Miss Willis?
Yes.
And did you all share personal information regularly?
Yes.
And did you even come and work with her at the DA's office?
Yes.
And when she needed a place to stay, did you let her stay at your apartment?
Yes.
It was a condo, right?
Condo. Yes.
Okay. Do you remember approximately when she moved into your condo?
It was April of 2021.
Okay, great. And you know that Miss Willis and Miss Wade met at a conference in October of 2019?
I'm going to object to that, Your Honor, without a foundation for how this witness would know that. If Ms. Merchant can establish she has personal information of that, then certainly that's something the witness can testify to. But if it's, she heard it
Understood,
from
Ms. Cross. All right, Ms. Merchant, if you could lay the foundation.
Do you have information that Miss Willis and Mr. Wade met in October of 2019?
I'm going to renew my objection, Your Honor. Information is not sourced to personal information. If the question can be rephrased, then that may address my concern.
So Judge, I just want to make sure that I understand. So they've objected to me calling Willis and Wade.
It's just a matter of foundation. If you can just rephrase.
Do you have knowledge of when Willis and Wade met?
I'm going to object again. Personal knowledge.
Overruled.
Thank you. Do you have personal knowledge of when Willis and Wade met?
Yes. She told me that they met at a conference. I don't know what.
Okay.
I'm going to renew my objection, Your Honor. Clearly, this is not firsthand information from this witness. It's hearsay that was.
But you said she told me.
Yes, it's statement against interest, Judge. If Miss Willis,
Just pause.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Ms.
Yes.
Cross.
The representation of the witness, the testimony of the witness was that Ms. Willis, District Attorney Willis, had a conversation with her. There is no statement against interest. District Attorney Willis is not a party opponent in this case. The information that the witness has testified to came from Ms. Willis, and we have a hearsay objection to that.
Why wouldn't she be considered a party opponent in this context?
She's a representative of the state, Your Honor. This isn't private litigation or civil litigation. Obviously, the court's aware this is, Ms. Willis is not on trial. Ms. Willis is not a party to the litigation outside her obligation to pursue criminal charges for the state.
Ms. Merchant, I guess it's evolved into a hearsay objection.
Yes, Judge. And we plan on calling Miss Willis to the stand. She's under subpoena, so hearsay will be cured. If there is a hearsay objection as far as that issue. But we do still think that it's a statement against interest. Miss Willis has filed a document that states that they met at this municipal court conference. So
Your Honor, I think maybe I can streamline a little bit. State will stipulate that District Attorney Willis and Mr. Wade met in October 2019 at the judicial conference that we've been talking about. There's no reason to get it secondhand from this witness. Well, that's true.
All right, you accept the stipulation, Ms. Merchant?
yes. Am I permitted then to ask questions about that since it's now not hearsay?
If it's just to a stipulation, if it's just to that basic fact, I don't think we need a question, but if there's a follow-up that you think is admissible, go for it.
Ms. Yurdi, you have personal knowledge that Ms. Willis and Mr. Wade began their romantic relationship soon after this time that they met at the municipal court.
I'm going to object to that question. That certainly is a leading question. No foundation has been laid for how this witness would have personal knowledge of that. And until that's happened, the state objects.
Judge,
I think you can do a yes or no and then follow up with how she knows it.
thank you. Do you know if Ms. Willis and Mr. Wade started dating in October of 2019?
I don't know if it was October of 2019.
Could it possibly be November of 2019?
Could possibly.
Okay. And when we spoke, you said it was shortly after the municipal court conference, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you know that their relationship, their personal relationship, began shortly after this municipal court conference.
Yes,
And when I say personal, romantic. I just want to make sure we don't get in an argument over what personal and romantic is later. When I ask you personal, do you take that to mean romantic?
yes.
And
Okay, let me just say something real quick. So first of all, welcome. Good morning, guys. We are recapping a little bit of yesterday. This was a colleague of Miss Willis. They met in college. They obviously had some, I'm going to say, personal dealings. That doesn't mean romantic to me, but you have to have a personal relationship with someone. I'm assuming you work together, you went to college, you have mutual friends, and you're renting Sis's apartment. So it's weird, or condo rather. This is another inappropriate relationship that Ms. Willis had. There's nothing wrong with renting a condo, but from someone who may be reporting to you, being your landlord, in theory, I guess there's tracking of the rental payments, but she was paying her in Cash App. She was paying her in cash. There was no rental agreement. It was a casual agreement. I think if anything that they have shown in this hearing and what Miss Willis probably had to think about last night is that even though you are a very private person and you can have that, but most of us don't live as public figures and are not in public office in highly politicized political positions. Most of us, whether you are a public figure or not, or you are a public figure due to your job, it's a public profile to your job. You have to, there's rules and regulations, there's protocol, there's all of these things. And I think if anything, she's definitely broken protocol with a lot of things that is making her look really, really sus right now. And it's unfortunate for her because, if it didn't come up now, it would have came up later. You know what I mean? I don't know how this situation with her renting her friend's condo or her colleague condo, this person's reporting to her. This person ended up leaving the job. She appears to be disgruntled. These are some problems. And dealing with cash, there's nothing wrong with that. But being a public official and not having paper trails will leave people to assumptions that may or may not be true. So even though in good faith she's handling things how she handles things, this is the friend that testified yesterday. Basically, the problem is that more than likely, so what she's testified to is that Fani's been in relationship with Nathan since 2019. And that is contrary to what they say. And they say it was 2022. They make it seem like it was just maybe like a year and a half. But what they're trying to find out is if this is an ongoing relationship. Also, has he lied on his divorce documents? Well, that's not a crime. But if he's trying to evade some financial questions from his wife, that shows kind of ethics. This guy's presiding over a huge case right now that has a lot to do with ethics and obviously the election interference. She has blurred lines as a leader. So I don't know. This is bad all the way around. Fani is very entertaining. Yes, we are enjoying the testimony and the attitude, the authority. She is highly pissed. But yeah, she was giving a certain energy yesterday that was, but yeah, let's listen to the friend a little bit more. We're just recapping while we are waiting. I can drop the call in if anyone wants to call in and talk. and ask any questions while we're waiting for things to get started. Good morning to everyone. Go ahead and hit the like button for me. But yeah, right now we're recapping. We're recapping too many improprieties, too much untrackable passing of cash. You know what I mean? And as an elected official, you should know better. You really should. She's an AKA. You know, as an elected official in the highest office in your community, well, not the highest office, but one of the highest offices. She's chief law enforcement officer. I mean, you should know better. You know what I mean? Can I drop membership? Sure, absolutely. Just a second. Let me get that. And we'll resume watching The Friend. I'm just trying to keep my eyes posted for the live coverage on my other tab. But I have the sound down, of course, because it's like hard to listen to two things in my ears. Okay, so let's
Do you understand it
finish up.
that their relationship began in 2019 and continued until the last time you spoke with her?
Yes,
And you were essentially her best friend during this time, right?
not best friend, good friend.
Good friend. Okay, close friend. And so would you frequently socialize with her?
Yes,
And you saw her at work every day?
yes,
So you had a chance to see them interact together on a personal level.
yes,
And so from everything that you saw, heard, witnessed, it's your understanding that they were in a romantic relationship beginning in 2019.
yes.
And when you left the DA, I'm sorry, let me ask you, you said that Ms. Willis came to live with you in April of 2021. I'm sorry, April 1st, 2020 or 2021?
She didn't live, I never lived with her.
Okay, I'm sorry. She took over your lease in April 1st, 2020, correct?
No, 2021.
Okay, I had it both ways, so I'm glad you clarified. So when she took over your lease in April 1st, 2021, it's your understanding she moved out of the house that she was sharing with her father and started staying at the condo.
Okay, guys, I have some news. I think that let's hear what they had to say.
King live at the Fulton County Courthouse to learn what just happened inside.
Well, of course, we expected District Attorney Fani Willis to take the stand when court was back in session this morning, but in a surprise move, Special Prosecutor Anna Cross said she did not have any questions for Willis and did not need her to take the stand, so the judge excused her from the courtroom. She will not come back unless someone recalls her later, but at this time, she's not taking the stand and she is not excused. The court is now in recess. We're not quite sure when they will return yet, but we will, of course, keep you updated as we learn more.
All right, Grace King with that late breaking information. Again, DA Fani Willis will not take the stand at this time today. Of course, there is a lot going on as we saw that curveball coming out of nowhere right there. We're going to keep monitoring this hearing throughout the day from inside the courtroom with our Zach Merchant, and we will break into programming again if there are any more major developments.
In the meantime, you can keep watching today's hearing on our 11 Alive Plus streaming app. If you missed part of DA Willis's testimony from yesterday, you can find it right now in its entirety.
Okay, so this is what I think. Okay, so Special Prosecutor Anna Cross, right? She works for Fani Willis. Okay. What more did they have to ask from yesterday? I mean, let's think about it. Did they not get granular yesterday? Did they not get granular yesterday? There's nothing else to play on this one. I mean, basically the news is Fani Willis is not getting on the stand today. Can you hear me? I'm assuming you guys can hear me okay. Basically what they were saying is that Special Prosecutor Cross, who works for Fani Willis, they basically finished questioning her on the other side. Miss Merchant yesterday, all of the questioning that happened yesterday, they basically concluded all of that, I'm assuming, because I think maybe there was someone who had some questioning, and I don't know if they finished it up yesterday. It seemed that they were going to ask some additional questions yesterday. Special Prosecutor Cross is saying that they have no additional questions for today. and she's excused from court today. So they're not planning on, she's not stepping up now. Could that change later today? Quite possibly. We don't know who else is on the agenda, so we can kind of hang out, or I can come back live. I'll just kind of be watching and see what's going on. Because we can always, I mean, I don't care about being behind. Like, we don't have to be like to the minute of what's actually live going on. But yeah, if I see something happening, then I will I'll take us live. But basically, Miss Cross basically said that she did not need to speak to, that was the one who, when Miss Merchant said, I want to reserve this subpoena, reserve her under subpoena. And Miss Cross said, well, it's my subpoena and she's fulfilled the subpoena. So subpoena can be canceled. And the judge said, well, in light of time and this, that, and the third, we'll keep the subpoena in effect. However, basically we'll keep the subpoena in effect. That way we don't have to keep going back and forth. Anyway, Fani Willis was due back this morning, and now that Miss Cross is saying she doesn't need to question her. But when you look at everything that they talked about, what more did they really need to ask? Because honestly, this is a shit show. And unless there is something that can really shed light to an already pretty bad situation, you've got a former colleague or a subordinate who's saying, we were friends and we were such good friends. You rented my condo. I didn't even have a contract with you. We're lawyers. We didn't even have a contract. You paid me in cash. You paid me in Cash App. This person is saying, well, you'd been over to the house. They'd been over. I'd seen them together. I'd seen them hugging and kissing. And this goes back to 2019. And Fani even admitted that her and Nate went to Miss Yurdy's place, right? When, of course, she doesn't remember, right? She's not supposed to be entertaining, as he being a vendor, as being a consultant for the city, and also a contractor now as a special prosecutor. Meals over $100. Well, she took him big to Belize for his 50th birthday. I mean, it's just a nonstop onslaught. So unless Special Prosecutor Cross has anything to help the situation, it's probably a good idea that Fani just leaves her testimony where it's at. If you guys want to finish up hearing Miss Yurdy, I'll put this back on for a minute and I'll be right back. We'll let you finish. It's probably like 9 more minutes if you want to finish up the friend testimony from yesterday, but it seems like that's what's going on for right now. This is the friend from college who they met up later years in Atlanta. She eventually ended up working for the district attorney's office. How did that happen? A friend from college working with you at the district attorney's office? I guess Fani doesn't mind hiring friends and colleagues, and the fact that she was living in this woman's condo, that can be problematic. Personally, I don't have a problem with it, but it's just not a good look. Clearly this lady is not happy. So anyway, let's finish this up and then we'll talk about it when it's over, and I'll see if there's any other updates and then we'll take it from there.
Yes.
And is it your understanding that that's because she needed to have her own space
Yes.
away from her father?
Yes.
Okay. When you left the DA's office, was it, were you fired?
No, I resigned.
You resigned, okay. Just one moment, Judge. Can you tell us why you resigned the DA's office?
The number of things that was happening.
A number of things that were happening. Is that what you said, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. What was happening that caused you to resign?
was a spiral of things. So I guess the last straw is I was put in a department that I knew had no knowledge about. Something happened and I didn't like it. They didn't like it. And that was it.
Okay. Did you have any falling outs with Miss Willis?
Well, we never spoke after that.
You never spoke after that. Okay. And so you're, without going into all the painstaking details, there is no doubt in your mind that from 2019 until 2022, Miss Willis and Mr. Wade were in a romantic relationship.
What's the question?
You have no doubt that their romantic relationship was in effect from 2019 until the last time you spoke with her.
No doubt.
And that's based on your personal observations and speaking with them and seeing them together and things like that.
Yes.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you. The other folks may have some questions for you, Ms. Yurdy.
Stay down.
You want me to go to the?
If it's more than a couple questions, then sure, but if not.
It's only a couple questions.
Okay.
I think, can the court reporter hear me okay? Ma'am, let me be very specific. Did you talk with Miss Willis about her romantic relationship with Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Did Miss Willis tell you on more than one occasion that she was engaged in a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to you leaving the district attorney's office?
Did she tell me or did I observe?
I'm straight right now with the tell me.
Yes.
Did she tell you that in the year of 2020?
Yes.
In the year of 2021?
Yes.
Are you certain that Miss Willis told you about the romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
Now, did you also have observations of Mr. Wade and Miss Willis together prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
And are those observations, were those in a social setting?
Yes.
And did you observe them do things that are common among people having a romantic relationship?
Yes.
Such as, can you give us an example?
Hugging, kissing, just affection.
All before November 1st of 2021, correct?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Mr. Stocks.
Ma'am, did I understand you to say that there was a period of time when you and Ms. Willis lived together?
No.
Mr. Durham.
No, nothing for me, Your Honor.
Mr. McDougall.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Rice.
Good morning, Ms. Yurdy. Were you aware in 2021 of any trips, social trips that Ms. Willis and Mr. Wade took together?
No.
Are you aware of any social trips that Ms. Willis and Mr. Wade took together in 2022?
No.
And are you aware of them in 2020 or 2021 spending the evening together overnight?
No.
Mr. Gillen.
No question.
Mr. McCullough. And Mr. Cromwell.
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Cross.
I do have some questions. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Yurdy, we haven't met before. Is that correct?
Correct.
You're able to see.
Okay, so Miss Cross asking her these questions. Now this is on behalf of the special prosecutor, right? So they're going to ask questions to try to dismantle her credibility, right? So I'm going to rewind because I'm sure at the beginning was a doozy. Well, go back to yesterday. Yesterday is where everything was. We're just recapping right now. Or just the beginning of her testimony. So Miss Cross is going to try to dismantle. So this is where all the talk comes up of, were you on performance review? I forget what she asked her, but basically it shed some it sheds some light to maybe this could be kind of like a disgruntled thing now. So Miss Merchant, the first one, she's on the side of the not the Trump interference, but she's one of the lawyers on the Trump team. And all of those gentlemen asking questions. So there's a number of defendants, right? And each one of their lawyers, kind of like with YSL, how there's a bunch of people on trial and there's a bunch of lawyers, each different defendant has a different set of lawyers. So the Trump case, all of the lawyers for all of the people in the election interference have a lawyer, right? So that's why she's getting questioned by many different people. And then Miss Cross is the lawyer on the special prosecutor side. So she is on the team of District Attorney Willis and Mr. Wade. So this is a hearing to keep the team in place that is currently prosecuting the election interference case. So Miss Cross is the person who is designated, I guess she's head on this particular hearing, for all of the questioning. So that's what Miss Cross is getting ready to do now. So she's on Miss Willis's team. She works for Fani Willis. Okay. So just in case some of you were not aware of kind of like what this setup is at this moment. Okay. So let's finish this up. It's like 5 more minutes.
See and hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. I want to start with a couple things. Now, I think you've made it clear that you never lived, and we'll call it the South Fulton address, the South Fulton condo that you were leasing. You never lived at that address with the District Attorney Willis, correct?
Correct.
And never at any time?
Never.
All right. You never observed or have any information about District Attorney Wade and District Attorney Willis and Nathan Wade living together, correct?
Correct.
You don't have any information about that?
No, I don't.
Anybody said that information was sourced to you, then that's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Did District Attorney?
Okay, guys, real quick, court is going to come back into session. Look, I mean, we might dip in there just to hear what they're talking about and see what the plan is for the day. The judge's chamber door is open. And the court secretary is sitting there. The court reporter, or the transcriber, she's sitting there. Is he sitting in his chair yet? Not yet. I'll give you guys a view. This is what's happening right now. So when they come back in, let's hear, because the judge is going to kind of lay out what's happening today. Are we resuming, which we know Fani Willis is not sitting in the chair today, as far as we know at this moment. But we'll see what's going on. I have to catch up. What did Fani do to her for her to be up there singing and telling everything? Ma'am quit her job. We don't know. They didn't go into detail. Did Erlene fix that wig? Girl. All right, let's not the secretary. She is the court secretary. Okay. Sis, look. Hold on a second. Sis got her wig. If anything is the star this week is these wigs, okay? Because Miss Robin, okay. Anyway, ma'am is waiting. They're waiting for court to get started. We've got a perfect view as long as they don't change it for the judge. So we will, let's see, is anything changing at this moment? Nothing just yet. She is the secretary, girl. Is she packing up? You know, it's not a good sign. Nothing's happening if she's packing up. What's going on? Oh, she's just going in her bag right now. Okay. Girl. Okay. Let's get back over to Miss Yurdy. Where's Lamont? Lamont is probably a building where Lamont cannot get to. This is look at does the bailiff know this is beaming all over the world? Like, a lot of people are watching this everywhere. Come on through, secretary. Secretary. Y'all are so funny. Okay, let's try to finish up. Ooh. The photographer. Okay, sis, with your pantsuit on. Okay, girl. Yes. It's not starting till 10. Okay. Well, the judge. Oh, and judge's door closed. The judge's chamber door was open for a second, and now it's closed again. What time is it? Oh, okay. Well, let's. I mean, I want to hear from the judge to find out what's on the agenda for today. How's this going down? Ma'am looks cute in her little pantsuit. I love a two-piece, guys. You guys know that a two-piece is a quick way to look whether it's casual or formal workwear. You cannot beat a two-piece, okay? Let's see. Come through, Velma from school. Sir, get up out this camera. Your wife needs to call you right away and tell you to get up off this camera, sir. But there, in case anything's happening in the court, Pineapple, stop laughing. Hey, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. I'm perched here. I'm perched in here for the mess until the meeting starts. Okay. Yes, and gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Englewood is my hometown. I was born in Englewood Hospital. And all of the things. We'll talk more about it. But yeah, that's my hometown. This might be the longest stretch it's been since I've been home. The past when were we there last? Maybe it's been a year. It was right before Thanksgiving last year, I feel like. Yeah, it was right before Thanksgiving last year. But yeah, that's my hometown. Why is he posing for the camera? I don't know if he thinks that they're live yet. I'm not sure. Uh-oh, there goes Miss Merchant. You saw her walk in? Miss Merchant was not playing. She was frazzled. I'm gonna just say this. Miss Merchant was frazzled yesterday, but Miss Merchant got her questions in. She was definitely flustered. Miss Cross was over there like, I object. Can you that's too broad. That's too this. Your Honor, we're treating this as a hostile witness. So for you guys, when they say hostile witness, what that means is you're over talking, right? You're over talking. Maybe you could not be sharing whatever, but what I understood them to mean at this point was that basically, if you answer more than what is asked for, once you answer the question, they're no longer documenting that bit of testimony. So if they ask you a yes or no question, until you give that yes or no and or so closed question answers, right? They're not recording any of that. So they had Ms. Wade as a hostile witness yesterday, even though she said she was happy to be there, because she was sharing way too much. That did not get into the record because they were just like, we need shorter answers, ma'am. You know what I mean? So Miss Merchant was Miss Merchant was not interrogating her boss. Miss Cross is works for Fani. Miss Merchant is on the side of the Trump team. So Miss Merchant and all of those gentlemen, I'll show you Miss Merchant. Miss Merchant is, where are we? Right here. We're at 1351. This where is Miss Merchant? She's right here, but you can't really see her very well. But she'll know exactly who she is when I show her. Hold on. Okay, this is a perfect view. Let me show you why. Okay. In the blue right here, this is Miss Merchant, and right back here in the dark blue and white shirt, that's Miss Cross. Miss Cross right here works for Fani. She's a special prosecutor. Miss Merchant up front with the white jacket and blue dress is on the Trump team. Okay. Miss Merchant was with the shits. She's the one who was like, do you have receipts? And he said, no, I have statements, right? Okay, Miss Merchant is the blonde. Yes, Miss Cross is the brunette. And Miss Cross is a special prosecutor. And yes, okay. So So let's get back to, we were right at about, maybe we were right here. Let me just keep an eye on the courtroom, but you guys say 10 o'clock. So we'll run with that. Let's finish this up just so we can get the rest of this in. But why is she disgruntled? I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know. Me personally, I don't like blurring the lines with friends, family, and work. I'll tell you guys, once upon a time, so I had a relative working in the same location with me. Obviously we weren't doing, she was in operations, I'm in HR. I really didn't feel, I mean, she wasn't a blood relative of mine, even though she was sister-in-law. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. I have no effect on her job. I did not interview her. I was not part of the decision-making process. She came in through a hiring project that was handled by other people. I had no hands in processing anything that had to do with her employment, interview process, nothing. And she was part of the business. Anyway, it didn't interfere because number one, nobody knew. And number two, even though people would say we look alike, it was my husband's sister. It's my husband's sister rather. But yeah, I just never let anyone know. But it didn't have anything to do with my job. And didn't have anything to do with hers. But we are relatives, we're in-laws. Anyway, it's a blurred line, and it makes people feel uncomfortable. So the fact that they were friends, Fani's renting her place, she's saying she witnessed them canoodling. I don't know, girl. Anyway, let's finish this up and then we'll talk a little bit more. We'll wait for court to start, okay?
You never observed or have any information about District Attorney Wade and District Attorney Willis and Nathan Wade living together, correct?
Correct.
You don't have any information about that?
No, I don't.
Anybody said that information was sourced to you, then that's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Did District Attorney Willis pay rent at that establishment, at that condo while she lived there and you were living elsewhere?
Yes,
Who paid the rent?
she did.
Nathan Wade ever pay the rent?
No,
And you never told anyone otherwise? I didn't hear your answer there, Ms. Yurdi. Did you ever tell anyone otherwise?
no.
All right. So let's talk for a second about your time.
Okay, so someone's asking, I'm sorry, can you update me on what this trial is about? So election interference is the Trump. So when Donald Trump was running for office, there is some allegations that he tried to interfere with the election in Georgia. So Fani Willis is taking Mr. Trump and his team of cohorts to court to answer the questions on the alleged interference. And basically, Donald Trump said that there's corruption in Fulton County, starting with Fani Willis. She's having an affair with the special prosecutor. He basically turned around, flipped the script, and basically said, like, Fulton County is not in a position to prosecute me because of all of the improprieties. There's corruption. The special prosecutor is the district attorney's boyfriend. They're financially gaining. He's in the middle of a divorce. The wife is basically naming Fani Willis to come as to be deposed as part of the reason why this situation is not working out. Why their marriage is breaking up, which that may or may not be the case. According to Nate, he says that the marriage was already irretrievably broken. The wife had an affair. So we kind of knew this because it was in the deposition. And so, yeah, it's a bunch of stuff. But basically what the Trump team, the root of the allegation is that because of the ethics issues, the quote unquote corrupt team, or the allegations that the team is corrupt or has been corrupted, they are not in a position to prosecute a RICO for election interference. So really and truly, they're asking Fani Willis to step down, and they're asking for the special prosecutor to be released from his post at this moment because of the lies and the inappropriate relationships and all of the things. And unfortunately, it's quite possible that with some of these things that obviously do seem super duper personal, and what does this have to do with their job? These are things that, you know, really should not be. Like, maybe sometimes one or two things happen. I mean, this is a lot of shenanigans going on in the district attorney's office, and lots that is not documented, can't be you know, as far as being able to substantiate, like, he never really did anything for me, I never did anything for him, there were no financial gains. This man is now being accused of lying on divorce paperwork. These two are also being accused of carrying on far longer than they have been admitting to carrying on. They also shouldn't have been carrying on. She probably shouldn't have hired what would have been a boyfriend at the time. The weird thing is, when they're talking about the travel, why Fani wanted to include, well, we were traveling with his sisters, we were traveling with his mother. Way to rub it in that, ma'am, to the wife, you have been replaced. Not only have I been vacationing with your mother-in-law, I've been vacationing with your sister-in-laws. I mean, it just makes the family sound messy. It makes him sound very messy. This thing is very, very messy to me. And you know what? If he weren't married, half of this whole entire thing would be going away if the divorce process had been finished. But unfortunately, since, no one is really here for our marriage was irretrievably broken, I decided to stay married I didn't want my kids to be from a broken home. But you're out here with the children's grandmother and aunties on vacation while they're at home with their mother. How is that being a good guy when you're on vacation with your family, but you leave your spouse and children behind while you vacation with your girlfriend from work and your people? Like, it just, I don't know. It doesn't sound good. However anyone might feel about it, it didn't sound very good. And people are going to make some judgments also because this lady is basically his boss. She's also responsible for dispensing contracts and gave his firm a contract to go through a backlog of files. And then now he's special prosecutor. So it just doesn't look very good. And a lot of everything was paid in cash. Yeah. So it's a big mess. Anyway, let's let ma'am finish up. And I'm still keeping an eye in on the court. As you can see, nothing is happening yet. We'll get back over there as soon as Judge goes ahead and starts everything. So let's pivot back.
District Attorney's Office. You were disciplined several times in the District Attorney's Office during your employment there, correct?
No,
You weren't written up ever for poor performance, Ms. Yurdi.
once, not several.
One time you were written up for poor performance. Were you counseled several times about your performance in the District Attorney's Office that was subpar?
No,
Did the District Attorney tell you that your performance was insufficient and that you were going to be fired?
no,
That never happened.
How are you not disciplined for poor performance, but then you were written up? Okay, so she's saying she was written up, she was never disciplined. Interesting. I don't know. We don't have to spend too much time on this because this is not a trial for her getting any kind. This is not a case about a settlement for improper firing or anything. So we're not going to get all into the weeds on it, but it's just, don't hire your friends. Okay.
no.
Don't hire
Maybe
friends.
When at the end, What's the question?
Question, Ms. Yurdi, was, did the district attorney ever counsel you on your poor performance in the district attorney's office prior and inform you that you were going to be fired?
I don't really know how to answer that.
I'm looking for the truth.
I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, a situation happened that wasn't my fault, and I either was going to resign or be let go. So
You understood that that was the situation. You could resign or you could be let go.
correct, yes,
You were not welcome to stay.
no.
And the conversation where you were informed that you could resign or you could be fired, that conversation was not the first conversation you had with the district attorney about your poor performance in the office, correct?
Well, it was kind of a spiral, but no.
Yeah, it was. Whatever the situation was.
Excuse me. Questions are fine.
Understood, Mr. Saino. Ms. Cross.
Ms. Yurdi, the circumstances of your leaving the district attorney's office ended your friendship with the district attorney Willis, correct?
Yes,
Y'all haven't spoken since.
no.
All right, I want to talk about the
So also this, okay, so DA moves out of her apartment. She said she moved out abruptly and she still continued to pay her half of the rent, right? I'm just wondering how that looks. You're still sending Cash App payments to someone who was basically told quit or leave. I just, me personally, I feel like when we're giving you an opportunity to quit, or we're going to fire you, doesn't mean you're going to be fired today. It really just depends on the situation. Seeing how Fani seems to operate, okay, thank you, Robin. Robin is in my head. Seeing how Fani seems to operate, it could have been a make a decision by 5 o'clock type situation, but I would imagine that they would have it documented, because if someone feels like they were improperly terminated, that can be a lawsuit. Everyone's not quick to go run and get a lawyer for everything, but that can be problematic. So you do want to obviously have your T's crossed and I's dotted. That's my feeling. Fire me. Lay it out on the table, because I want to see what you're working with. If I'm here, I'm here. And or also I'll take my 30, 60, 90 days to look for another job, and then I'll bounce when I get good and damn ready. You know what I'm saying? But you're not making me make a decision by 5 o'clock. Okay. That's not going to happen. Okay. Anywho, we could have so many conversations about, work, but we'll do that another day. We'll do that one day next week. We'll talk about situations, workplace firing situations. But anyway, so they weren't friends anymore. She gave her an option to stay or be fired. This seems to be the only person in the office that knew that they were involved. She's paying her rent in cash. There's no lease. There's no written agreement. There's, the amount of the rent would fluctuate. It just seems, I'm going to just look. And again, there's a lot of people who ascend to levels. They don't even see that they're like, sis, you are in one of the highest offices in your city, that how this could potentially look. And it's not like you're even sending a Zelle payment, anything, even on Cash App, you could say January rent. I mean, any kind of a fund transfer is basically a check, right? ACH or any of the wire funds transfers. In Cash App, it could be January rent, February rent, plus utilities, things like that. You can put a note on there, okay? The fact that she continued to pay for a period of time after you two fell out, after you two stopped speaking, it could be seen potentially as hush money. I'm not saying it is, but the Trump team is basically, their job was to just dismantle and discredit. I don't know that they're trying to have her taken out the back in handcuffs. Maybe someone is. But I think it's to dismantle and discredit. And I think yesterday, ma'am probably was just on fire. And you gotta, like, this is a world stage. This is not just some local Fulton County politics. This is, these people are coming and have global billionaire interests, and they're coming to dismantle and discredit you and let the chips fall where they may. That's just the way I see it. You guys might say different. Did you say there are no friends? I'm not, well, did I say there was no friends at work? Maybe once upon a time I said that. I said I definitely don't hire your friend. Like, if you're in a position of authority, do not hire a friend to come work for you. If they go work in another department that you have no influence over, that's your business. If you're comfortable with that. But I just don't think it's even good to have friends or family in the building. I didn't have a bad experience with it when I did have that experience, but it was also very separate and it was not common knowledge at all. But I probably would say that. I would definitely say don't hire your friends, because it gets real messy. It gets extremely messy. All right, let's finish up, Miss Yurdy, because it's only just a couple more minutes.
The representations that you made here this morning, Ms. Yurdy, about any relationship between District Attorney Willis and Mr. Wade. I want you to tell me what was the first time let me ask it this way. You said that District Attorney Willis personally informed you of a romantic relationship. Is that what you testified to?
Yes.
When did that conversation that you purport to have, to recall, when did that happen?
I mean, I don't have a month or a day,
Where was
but
it?
just talking in general.
You'd like to keep this witness under subpoena, but that's all the questions I have right now.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cross.
That's finished. Let's go over here. All right, I'm going to answer your questions. Yes, that's what she said, but I could imagine that the DA's office, there's Miss Merchant right there. Okay, she's wearing her pearls today. I'm sure I'm going to make the assumption that Ms. Willis had more options than to rent an apartment or condo from a friend who works under her at the DA's office. That's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really have feelings about this. I'm just saying that now that she is sitting on the stand and it doesn't look very good, and this person that she rented from is sitting there dropping all her tea and can make the difference in whether ma'am potentially could keep her job, it probably wasn't a good idea. You know what I mean? Like, she could have sought out additional resources to find her a secure housing, right? Rather than rent a condo from a friend who who knows information that other coworkers don't know. And it just, years later will come back to bite you in the butt. You know what I mean? Maybe for me or you doing something like that, maybe it would have been fine. But for her sitting in her seat, trying to prosecute one of the biggest cases of our time at this, especially even at this moment, it's taking away from the process, right? I'm sure, you know how you can talk to your past self. Like, what would you tell 49-year-old, 50-year-old you? Like, if you could go back in time, what would you tell you? You know, it would be one of those for me, but okay. Do we know who worked in their positions? Do we know who worked in their position first? So was Fani, I think Fani was already working. I think she was a judge. She ran for office. I'm not sure. Like, that's a good question. I don't know. Her name is Robin Yurti. Let's see if she's on LinkedIn. Robin Yurti. I'm just guessing at the spelling of her name. It probably would have been smart to take her name down anyway, but let's see. I don't even know if I have it spelled right. Robin. Oh, it's Yurti. Oh, there we go. Let me see. There's a Robin Yurta. No. Robin Yurti. Let me. Well, she made an impression on this internet with those glasses. She said, I'm coming to so Robin Bryant Yurti. Let's see. Robin. Let me see. Robin Bryant Yurti. She had a LinkedIn page, but it's down. It's crashing. Page doesn't exist. Check your URL. It shows that she has a professional profile on LinkedIn, but it's gone. Let's see. Okay, so there was a movie. She might have been in a movie called Recognize, starring Benzino, Keisha Brown, Nilsa Castro. Like, it's looking very much like Tubi. Hold on a second. She's got an IMDb page. Robin Yurti Brown. There can't be two Robin Yurti Browns, right? But there's no picture. So Recognize from 2012. Maybe she had like a little part in this or something. ATL George, Audi, the City Boys. Girl, I don't know anything about this movie. Diamond, okay, forget it. Let me be quiet. Okay. So maybe she's got experience as an actress. Okay. And then the family business. Let's see what else. Oh, does it say makeup artist? Hold on. Maybe it's makeup artist, makeup department, and actress. So she was makeup department and actress. Okay. This movie right here, The Family Business, 2018. Robin Yurti, what was her part in this? Show all cast. Okay. Lisa Ray was in this. My goodness. Okay. Robin. Let's just start from the bottom. Ooh, lots of people. Lots and lots of credits. Gosh, can they resort this? Um, I don't even see her on here. But she's got to be. I must have scrolled past it. They have her attached to it, but I don't see her in here. Did I pass it, y'all? Anyway, we'll look at it another time. I guess it's not really important. Okay. Anyway, this is what's giving right here. I can't find her LinkedIn page, but that's it right here. And they have her attached to these two movies. Mini bio. I mean, it would fit because these are like Atlanta movies, and she's from Atlanta. So, but anyway, that's what's going on with this. Now we're back to the court. Nothing's going on yet. It's 10 a.m. and did court start? No. It's 10:05. She could star in the Nesto movie. Who would she be in the Nesto movie? Maybe she would be checking some people in at Fulton County. I'm going to put you guys on hold for just a second. Hey, let's see. Is the movie Family Business or a series? Is the movie Family Business or a series? I don't know. Let's see. It looks like it was 4 videos. Family Business original series on BET. Girl, she could have just like literally walked by and said, "Excuse me, would you like tea or coffee?" Like it could be anything. They gave her a credit and there's like 100 people on here, so I don't see why they wouldn't. Anyway, let's get back. Let's see what other questions you guys have. Hi, y'all. Did they start yet? No. My big pillow arrived from Amazon. Thanks for the hookup. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. I mean, the hookup is, if you guys want to know what we're talking about, go to the community post. And I did post it. It's like my new fave item, which is a big, it's not a body pillow. It's just a good pillow. And it's on Amazon. I love it. So I told you guys about it and some people asked me to drop the link. So I did. So it's on my community post. Just scroll down. You'll find it. It's from Amazon. Oh, you know what? We didn't scroll down far enough. Let me see. I wish we could have seen her LinkedIn, but I don't blame her. Here it is. I don't blame her for taking that down. Robin Yurty. Hold on. Robin Yurty. She was a hairstylist. right there. Hold on. If that's the same Robin Bryant Yurty, but how many Robin Bryant Yurties could there be? But it's giving, and the way her hair was laid for the testimony, it doesn't surprise me. And as far as what her job was with the district attorney's office, I'm very curious. Let's see, Robin Bryant. Girl, she took her Facebook down and everything. I don't blame her. Sis, they must have told you. Girl, they took, everything. She got offline yesterday and the world was probably like, what? She's like, you know what? You can hit my Instagram. Uh-oh. Come through, lanyard. Okay. Okay, ma'am is learning about Germany. Okay. She said, I don't care about the district attorney's office. I'm going to go look at Porsches. Okay. Period. I'm going to an event I'm going to a luxury event. Yes. Okay. Come through, Pink. Yes. And a nice glass of wine. Okay, ma'am. Now, what she was doing for Atlanta, we do not know. Come through, slideshow. Okay. La Douy. Okay. Going to all the places. Okay. Robin Bryant on TikTok 007. Okay, so this is her business travel page. She shut down that LinkedIn. I don't blame her, of course. Absolutely.
It has been 2 weeks almost exactly since I got back from Belize, and I have been, I don't know.
Not that she went to Belize. Okay. Huh.
Why it takes me so long to do these destination videos, but I had to write down some stuff so I won't forget it. So Belize. I loved Belize. Belize is a very, very laid back destination. My whole goal was to vacate, eat good, get massages, and rest, literally. And that's what I did. Everyone, it has been 2 weeks almost exactly since I got back from Belize, and I don't know why it takes me so long to do these destination videos, but
I wonder why they asked district attorney about Australia, and she said, I've never been to Australia and I don't want to. I've never even wanted to go to Australia. Oh, did she just come back from Australia? Okay. All right, ma'am. Traveling. So she does hair. I mean, who knows? This could be second career. We don't know what she was doing for the city of Atlanta or Fulton County, excuse me. Are they sorority sisters too? Is it Founders Day 2024? 117? What do you guys suppose that she was doing for Fulton County? So maybe she's not an attorney. Maybe she was a clerk. Mm, okay. And court has still not started yet. Okay. She was a secretary. She's a Delta. Okay. So she belongs to sorority. She probably needed some benefits real quick. You know, many people have multi-talents. So I mean, she could have just been in her multi-talent bag. You know what I mean? I'm over here doing this and I'm over here doing that. I got my little travel business. I can do hair, I can do makeup. I'm a secretary. Ma'am had property. You know what I mean? She was renting to her boss. Okay. You're renting to your boss. So, okay, come through, Robin. All right. Not mad at that. I'm just trying to figure out if your safety, look, people have to handle things how they see best. And maybe she didn't want anyone to know where she lived, but I'm quite sure her security detail knew where she was laying her head, right? Um, I can't imagine though that there is not some sort of group that helps high level executives find secure and appropriate housing to make sure that you're safe and your accommodations for your family are good. So to the person who was asking, wasn't she afraid of gang violence and this, that, and the third? She left. Her father did not. And I don't know where the man stays now, but she says that her house is now empty. She can't even enjoy her home anymore. So because of, yeah. 14 days is a long vacation. What for 14 days is damn near like you're living there. I would almost feel like after 5 or 7 days, it's almost like I wonder what's going on at home. Like I would be like, I wonder how the dogs are. Let me tell you something. When we went away, one of the first times I left mommy for like 5 days. This is before Farrah. This is before kids. Me and my husband left mommy for like 5, 6 days. and it was on some. We were starting to miss, like, I wonder what's going on at the house. You know, like when you first go away, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of anything, and then it rolls into, I wonder what's going on. Hey, did you check the mail? Life starts kind of, I guess you do have a need to kind of want to go back to your normal. Yes, if it is longer than 10 days, may never come back. You start to adjust to a different lifestyle. Was it her property, or did Fani just take over the lease? It was her condo. They said it was her condo. When she said who paid the lease, excuse me, who paid the rent, um, Robin said Fani did. But to me, I don't know, I felt like that needed to be flushed out. Just one more question. Like, who paid the rent to who paid did Fani paid you rent? I guess they were asking between Mr. Wade and Miss Fani, who paid, right? Versus that's your condo. I don't know. That's a good question. Was that a lease, or was it? Either way, it's damn near an apartment, because at the end of the day, whether it's a condo, if she's saying it was her condo, then I would imagine she owns that property. Um, I don't know. We'd have to go back and re-listen to the testimony to get the actual full gist of everything. Um, so took over the rent, I thought. But she was still paying it. She was sending the money to Robin. I would do 2 water feeders, and a lot of food, and do a couple of litters. What is it called? I forgot. It's been a long time since I had a cat. But when I had a cat and I would go away for a period of time, I would, if it's safe, depending on what your setup is, I would leave window cracked a little bit just to get some fresh air, keep the air circulating in the house. I would do multiple litter trays. And you could leave ample water and food. You're just gonna have to leave food and water out. And that's pretty much it. Cats are so self-sufficient. Unless your cat's really used to going out. I've always had house cats that would look outside. I had a cat that you could leave the door open and Sir would not step his little paw outside. He was not interested in outside at all. He wouldn't even go out on the deck. You know what? I got seasick. I didn't even see it coming. It hit me all of a sudden like a ton of bricks. I was so nauseous day 2, and they brought me something. We didn't go to dinner, and they came knocking on the door. They were like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Like, it's so like, they really, you wouldn't think that they would be able to keep their eyes on everybody, but they know. They know when you don't check in, you don't swipe your card, you don't go, like, they keep an eye. Here's a water fountain. Good. Dogs are a whole different story. You can barely leave your dogs for 5 hours. How about if the secretary is sitting over there watching us? Hey sis, if you are in the chat right now, look up and wave to us. She's like, hell no, I'm not looking up. I'm not ruining my good job. Bougie gang, stop playing with me. You wore a motion sickness bracelet? I didn't know anything about it, but I know about it now. Upcoming cruise. Okay. Dre heard Sonya's call about him. Well, everyone heard Sonya's calls about them. Let's see. Did they put up a post? I haven't seen it yet. Let's see. Nothing's happening yet. Mim is literally just sitting there texting. She's typing, secretary is typing into the chat. Hi, sis. Hey, what's going on? Let me get my good setup back up. Oh, ma'am, is this the right courtroom? I'm looking. Where's Fani? Is Madam DA coming? No, girl, hadn't you heard? No, she's not coming to the stand today. Miss Cross said she didn't need to see her. Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, you better get down the hall because you already know. What? Yeah. Yes, you better. Okay, sis. All right. Okay. All right. You want to go to lunch? What time are you guys breaking? Okay. All right. I'll see. Oh, hey, girl. Hey. I'm going to get a coffee. Do you imagine if there was a live camera set up on your job? You have a live camera, not a security camera, not security team is watching, making sure everybody is okay. But your actual job is live cameras all of the time. Like you can't even you blow your nose or you trip. Ma'am, you better you got your IDs on your portfolio and everything. Don't you know this is on YouTube? Oh my goodness. Hey everybody, what's going on? We're just waiting. We're just waiting. The court secretary is over there. What is that game that people like to play with the balls? Girl, I gotta go. Girl, I got my work computer. I got my hustle computer. Girl, I gotta get some work done. I got a vlog to go put out. So yes, I'm going to be editing and I need to get these filings done for my judge. She's listening to the call right now. She's over there watching Shernesto. Ma'am, do you know anything about Shernesto? Yeah, girl. Sis, is that wig from You Nice? Uh-oh. Ma'am has on her cute little suit, though. I'm not mad at her suit. You guys are so silly. She's playing solitaire as a secretary. Now that look, if you're just now dropping in, slide the bar back. I promise you we were being very serious earlier. Now we're just having chit chat, okay? I promise you we were talking about things of value and we were keeping it professional. about an hour ago, but now it's just kind of like, we want court. We want court. Bring back the judge. Let's get it started. It's Friday. It's Friday. Yes, it's Friday. Okay. Ooh, if I was live, if if it was live, they wouldn't have caught the other judge faster scrolling and texting during the toddler case. No respect. Yeah, I wonder. I heard about that, but I'm just wondering. I mean, sometime I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. No one should be texting like going back and forth, but let's say you're on the bench and your kid's school is calling, because I'm quite sure that can happen, or there's some sort of emergency. But sitting there texting, I mean, I think the judge is well within their means to be able to say, okay, we need to take a quick 5-minute break and go handle their private business. Um, and or has someone who's managing their phone during a very serious trial to handle any type of emergencies like that. So, not to mention, men, I'm going to say this, men have the luxury of having a wife. Now female judges, I don't know, maybe they have a secretary or they have a housekeeper, nanny, any of those things to help out when needed. Because some jobs are jobs that you just can't leave for any reason, because it's just not that type of vibe. So she was texting, mocking the attorney, and was scrolling IG. Okay, that's a problem. Yeah, that's why she resigned. So yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, absolutely. I agree 100% on that one. All right, guys, I'm going to put you guys on hold for a second. Let me see. Is there anything else that we could be watching? Let's, so you guys, if you remember yesterday in the testimony when Nathan, excuse me, was it Nathan? They asked him that question and he took, he took forever to say no. And some of you guys were in the comments talking about when trying to think of a good lie. You think the bailiff looks like Bookman? He does look like his belt is very heavy. The belt is giving 20 pounds. What do you guys think? The bailiff knows it's. Oh, man. You guys are so funny. That was the longest no ever. Wasn't it the longest no? That was so funny. Okay, guys, I'm gonna put you guys on hold for just a second, okay? Okay, guys, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Fani shook the jury box and the courthouse. Fani said, I dare you to ask another question. She seemed like she was okay with it, but they really, what else did they need to ask her? They asked her everything and she answered way too much, just in my opinion. I think they're probably trying. I'm gonna be honest. Look, it's 10:40 right now. What could they possibly be doing? Now, Merchant seemed to be walking around and seemed quite happy this morning. It's This is just my speculation and I could be completely wrong. Maybe she gets to keep her job and she is going to have to um and maybe I don't know if Nate's going to get to stay on as special prosecutor, but she gets to keep her job and she just sidesteps away from the case. I'm not really sure. Maybe they are currently negotiating something. Okay, so she's done. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. She wasn't getting on the stand today. And if she's not going to be, she said everything she needed to say. So I don't think that there was anything left. Fran should have known she would be attacked, just like Marilyn Mosby got prosecuted for mortgage fraud. Look, when you step your pinky toe into public office, you are going to have lovers and you are going to have haters. No pun intended on the lovers. But you're going to have people that love you, stand for you, all of the things. And you're going to be scrutinized about having $10,000 cash and not paying your taxes on time. Okay. Just because you are a fantastic lawyer doesn't mean that you are a fantastic accountant. It doesn't mean that you are a fantastic manager of money. It doesn't mean that you do everything right. It doesn't mean that you don't like dick. Okay. It doesn't mean a lot of things. All right. It just means I'm a fantastic lawyer. Right. I'm trying to give sis some grace. Is she learning her lesson about side chickery? Sir says his marriage was irretrievably broken, but a man who is married and has a wife, if you want Putty Cat, you want a girlfriend, you want to travel the world, you don't want them problems, you are a lawyer, go handle that paperwork. Do things in a decent manner so that you don't have to jeopardize your $600,000 job and be out here at 50 years old looking a certain type of way because now people are looking at you like Mr. Three-Piece Suit. What? I do. Low key, I do. I am not following that case because no, I'm not following Nature Boy. I've heard of the Nature Boy situation, but it's too much. If I were to follow it, I probably would not cover it because I don't like that energy of some of what I've seen on YouTube is not I'm not going to cover that. Bishop Whitehead. I've heard about the Bishop Whitehead situation, and I have not been watching that one. I've been watching like Koberger, the Long Island Murders. I did watch Letitia James. I started watching the Adelsons. I've definitely been keeping up with the Murdoch case for like a year now. A lot of, yeah, just random stuff. Random. I'm keeping up with Ernest Williams, Shrenesto. Okay, guys, I told you guys we went to Target the other day. We got some new phones. Everything came well. Farrah's phone is fine. My phone did not come with the right memory, and I realized that right after I put the order in, and it was too late because they were like, "It's probably already." And it came yesterday. So what was that? Tuesday? No, today's Friday. Wednesday, we went out for Valentine's Day. We stopped. The phones came yesterday. I have to return them today, and I need to do that as early as possible so they can reorder the right memory. So for me and my husband, we need everything has to be returned. Farrah's phone, of course, is fine. Yeah, that audience, no offense to anybody who's watching, I just I'm good on that. Like I'd watch it and be like, "Oh yeah, did you see that?" Okay, but yeah, I'm not going to be doing like a live stream about it. No way. Problem they have is prosecuted a case like this. Yeah. So yeah, dismantle, discredit, that's what they're trying to do. I mean, it's obvious that she hired, well, it's not obvious. They are trying to flush out, did you hire your boyfriend or did you hire a friend that you made your boyfriend while he was working for you, one way or the other? Did you start sleeping with a county contractor and did not disclose it to the powers that be? All of those things. Meanwhile, you were, renting from one of your subordinates their condo. Um, I just cannot imagine that even her security detail, if her security detail is from the county and the county security realizes that she is renting an apartment, like don't they do background vetting like to make sure ma'am is okay? Like if it's all about ma'am and ma'am's security, just like the Secret Service, wouldn't they have knowledge of who's renting her, like who she's renting from, and is it safe? Is it secure? That they would do some sort of sweep of the building to make sure that there's nothing nefarious going on and ma'am can lay her head down and she's safe and all of those things. Like that's just weird to me. That nobody tapped her on the shoulder and said this probably isn't a good idea, or let their boss know that the new accommodation for the DA is going to be X, Y, and Z, and someone have a conversation with her about that. Like just as a consultant, I don't know. Maybe and if she is fiercely protective of her privacy and nobody knew, I mean, okay, check my RTV messages in Instagram. Looks like things are getting ready to get started, guys. Why does that guy right now, this guy walking towards us, why does that look like Bimal Chopra? Which I know it's not, but why does he look like Bimal Chopra? BC. Oh. Okay, let me see.
Stop calling these women, texting them, asking them what they doing. They're doing rent, light bill, water bill, car insurance, life insurance, house and milk. What I'm doing, send me a cash app.
What's going on here? Let me see. I'm checking my messages. Someone told me to check. The person who told me to check my Real Talk Bougie, check your messages. Is that on Instagram? What is it that you wanted me to check? Okay. Maybe it's email. Let's see. Guys, we're waiting for court to get started. If you're just now coming in, go ahead and tap in for me if you don't mind. And Court should be getting started momentarily. Find out what is on the docket for today. Madam District Attorney will not be getting back on the stand today. So at the table closest to us in the blue jacket, that's Miss Cross. Over with the eggplant, again, no pun intended on that. The purplish, she's kind of smoothing through her hair at this moment. That is Miss Merchant. And so the table closest to us, that is the special prosecutor's desk. And the other table with the lady with the purplish jacket, Plum, thank you. I wanted to say aubergine, and all of the silver hair guys, the silver fox team over there. Those are many of the attorneys on the Trump election interference side. And it looks like the judge is coming in. Everybody is standing. Where is the volume? Okay, here we go. Let's hear what Judge McAfee. He doesn't look like he had a good dinner last night. I don't even know if he went to sleep. He looks tired.
Is still not with us in person. However, there's a proposal to potentially move on to other witnesses. Why don't we start with the state? Ms. Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, in order to be efficient with the court's time, we have a witness here and prepared to take out of order, and it sounds as though there's no objection from the defense, so we can do that at court convenience.
We don't have any problem taking them out of order, but it's our understanding Governor Barnes is here to establish that he was the first choice of Ms. Willis, and she testified to that, so I think it's a little bit. Why we can't call him to establish the fact it's already been established. We're not refuting that fact. Feature on that fact.
Ms. Cross, I think did she say it was her first choice? Did she not say who was her first choice?
I think I don't believe that the governor's name was mentioned. I think there are some facts and circumstances surrounding the search for someone to take over the lead of this investigation at that time. Now prosecution is something that, given the allegations in the case, is certainly relevant.
All right, it doesn't sound like it would be all that long a witness.
I don't think
anyhow. All right, so in that case, we can transition over, and Ms. Cross, I'd like to call your witness.
Thank you. The state would call Governor Roy Barnes.
And just so I'm clear, so you had told us not to ask questions about qualifications. So we did not ask any of our witnesses about qualifications. So the state's now going to bring in evidence of that. We would just ask how be able to go into that.
Sounds to me, well, Ms. Cross.
If you want to ask Governor Barnes about his qualifications, that's certainly something he'd have knowledge of. I don't know what his basis of knowledge for anyone else's qualifications might be, but I also don't think that opens the door to anything other than what my understanding of what the testimony is.
As I hear it, the issue of qualifications versus who was her first choice is going to be relevant to her intent, maybe, and perhaps that issue of the case in whole. I don't think that necessarily opens the door. We'll see how it goes.
I believe he's being brought up, Your Honor.
All right.
Y'all, are those some YouTube Streets reporters? Okay. All right. Many diverse group of court watchers today. They said the governor is coming up next.
Ms. Cross, assuming this may be a 10 to 15-minute witness, does the state have other witnesses on deck they'd like to go forward with as well?
Yes, we called to gather everyone we could, so we can go forward with another witness, I believe, after this.
All right, appreciate it.
Jackson Tabasco, you are on a 5-minute restriction from commenting. Okay, tall man in a blue suit coming through, shaking hands. Okay. Ma'am, they got the camera right. Yes, they do have the camera right on you. Tall man went and sat right in front of the lady. The lady in the red jacket thought she had a good seat until tall man came in. Ma'am needs a tissue. She's got some. Please don't tell me that's how the governor's pants fit. Please, Lord Jesus. Can someone fit that, ma'am? I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, here comes the governor, guys.
I do. Roy Eugene Barnes, Royeugene, Barnes, Barnes.
Say, good morning, Mr. Barnes. Can you tell the court a little bit about your background as it relates to your service in public service?
I was first elected to the state senate in 1974 from Cobb County, and I served 16 years there. And then in 1990, I ran for governor and was defeated. And 2 years later, I went back to the House of Representatives. I was elected to the House of Representatives, served 6 years until I was elected governor in 1998, and I served in that position until January of 2003.
And after serving in the position of governor, can you tell the court what you transitioned into after your public service?
I did exactly what I was doing before I was elected. I went back to practicing law in Marietta, Georgia, with my daughter, who's now judge of the state court, and my son-in-law. And now we have, I think, 6 or 7 lawyers. Charlie Bailey back there was one of them at one time.
Okay. And Governor Barnes, would you consider yourself to be a trial lawyer?
Yes. We don't write contracts or we don't write wills. All we do is try cases.
And I want to direct your attention back to 2021, where you were approached by the district attorney of Fulton County, Fani Willis, about being a special prosecutor.
I was. I don't recall the exact date, but I know it was sometime in 2021. And she asked me to come down, and I met with her and Nathan Wade, and there were several other in the meeting. She asked me, said they were beginning this investigation, and she asked me if I'd be interested in being special prosecutor, to which I replied that I had mouths to feed at a law office, and that I would not do that. And also, I just had a bad, well, I won't say bad because it happens from time to time, but I just had the FBI to report a fella, militia trainer, to me that said they were concerned that he was making threats against me. And because I thought it was because of the flag, but I asked him and he said, no, it was because I was too close to the Jews, quote unquote. And I told DA Willis I'd lived with bodyguards for 4 years and I didn't like it. And I wasn't going to live with bodyguards for the rest of my life.
Ultimately, you turned down.
Yes. Yeah, I told her. I said, I'm not interested.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Merchant.
Ms.
Morning,
Merchant.
Governor Burns. How are
Morning.
you?
Just fine. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You said it was sometime in 2021. Do you remember?
I think
if
it
early?
was. I don't remember the dates. They all go. I could look it up on my calendar at the office, but I don't have that.
Well, I want to ask you about some statements that Ms. Willis made March 28th, 2021. She was talking about assembling a team for this case. Are you familiar with her work assembling a team for this case?
Well, I assume that's what she was talking to me about. But besides that, I don't know.
And I know you had said you had a meeting with some folks and Mr. Wade was at that meeting.
Correct.
Okay. So he was with the district attorney interviewing you about taking this case.
Well, of course, I know Nathan very well, as you do.
Yes.
And I exchanged pleasantries with him, but the conversation was with Ms. Willis.
Okay, with Ms. Willis. Were you aware at the time that her team consisted of Brian Watkins, Megan Vargas, Sonia Allen, Shannon Trotty, Sal Chan, and John Floyd? She had reported that was her team on this case.
I know John Floyd was involved, and she probably told me the others, but listen, I barely remember what case I tried last year, much less every word that was said in the conversation.
I understand, fair enough. But she said she was looking to hire more lawyers and investigators to work on this case.
She told me, it was to me, she said, would you be interested in being special prosecutor in this case? And I gave the reply that I've already known. I mean, about hiring other lawyers or whatever, I don't know. All I can testify to is what she told me.
Did she tell you at all why she wanted to hire special counsel and not use someone who was an ADA, not have an actual employee?
No, she did not. I mean, we did not discuss that, and but I would assume it was because in a case as big as this that you'd have to have a decision help. I know John Floyd has been in some cases over the years out in Cobb County, for example, and others.
Would you agree that an employee of her office, someone who was paid a state salary or a county salary as an ADA, could handle a case like this?
I couldn't tell you that unless I knew the person, knew their experience, and really had been with them in a courtroom.
All right.
Has an opinion on that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Say no.
Hello, Mr. Sadow.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing fine, just getting older, but that beats all time.
That's true, but that applies to all of us, I believe. I think you indicated that if you had your calendar, you'd be able to pinpoint a date for us.
I would.
Is there a way for you, for example, at a break before you actually leave to contact your folks to see if you can get a date?
I guess I could. I don't know how far back we archived those, but I assume I could.
Would you be willing to give that a shot for us?
I mean, I'll do whatever the court instructs.
So if I ask the court and the court says, go ahead and you could do it, that's all right?
I'll do whatever the court instructs.
I hear you.
And you should too.
I try to live by those words. I'm not always successful, but I try. If I pinpoint a date, for example, I think the record is clear that Mr. Wade was hired for the position on November 1 of 2021. Does that help you at all?
No, it does not.
Okay. Then let's go to the meeting. It sounds like it was just one meeting.
Yes.
And could you tell us where that meeting took place, if you
It was
remember?
in the conference room adjacent to the district attorney's office.
So was it in this, or the adjoining building?
It was in the Lewis Slade building.
And District Attorney Willis was there, obviously, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And Mr. Wade was there?
The best I recall, now I could be mistaken about that, it's like anything that far away, but that's my recollection.
Do you have a recollection of anyone else being present?
Yeah, there were some other folks, but I don't remember.
Do you remember, were you introduced to Mr. Wade by anything other than you already knew him? Was he given a title or anything? So at least as you're there, if I heard you correctly, Ms. Willis did all the talking, Mr. Wade did not.
I mean, we exchanged pleasantries, but as far as the basis of the conversation, the reason I was there, Ms. Willis didn't talk.
And would you be able to give us an estimate how long this meeting lasted? Just rough.
Probably an hour.
And during the meeting, you made it clear, but it was the thanks for the offer, but no thank you.
Oh, yes, I did. As I said, you know, I started off as a prosecutor, and for about 10 or 15 years, I did nothing but criminal. And then, but I've tried to move away from it and do primarily civil now. Mr. Gillen and I have done some white collar cases over in federal court. I've got one over there right now, but it's generally business related, you know, where I have a client that's got a kid or him getting indicted. And the case I have over there now is an alleged fraud case.
Fair to say that based on your career and the work that you've done, you've handled high profile cases, correct?
I have. I've handled some pretty good cases. I sued Syria one time for beheading a client of mine, recovered $82 million. High profile, but that was in D.C. I tried that up in D.C.
And what would be considered complex cases, you've handled those as well, correct?
Yes, I mean we regularly do mass torts, class actions, business torts, breach of contract, and most of those are high complex or complex, requiring many experts. We also do malpractice. I did malpractice defense for about 25 years, but since I've returned from the governor's office, I try not to represent an insurance company anymore. And I just tried a malpractice case before Judge Edlin in November. And those are complex cases because of the type of, medical knowledge and that you have to have, and also because of the many experts that you have.
Thank you. Did Ms. Willis, and this is the last question, did Ms. Willis tell you why she had sought you, why you had been her choice?
No, I hadn't, but I get consulted fairly often on major cases.
Would you believe, based on circumstances in which you were given the offer, that it had to do with the fact that you had handled complex and high profile cases in the past?
It could have been. I know her very well. I tried a case against her. She worked for the JQC, and I represented Judge Robert Crawford, Mac Crawford, and she prosecuted him, and I defended him. She beat me at the trial. I turned it around at the Supreme Court.
So you had some experience.
Oh, I had plenty of experience with it. She's a very qualified young. Well, everybody's young to me, but she's a very qualified young woman.
After that one occasion, did you have any other contact with her in reference to the position itself or who she might be considering?
I had some conversations with her or Jeff DeSantis or some of those, but not really an in-depth, about who she should hire or anything like that.
Did the name Nathan Wade come up in those conversations with her? No, right?
No. Nathan was there, I thought. Now, I could be mistaken, but I thought Nathan was there when
for the
I
conference.
think Nathan was. I'm positive Nathan was there when I met with him.
Right, and my question was probably poorly worded, but what I was asking is after the conference and whatever consulting you might have done.
Yes.
Did Ms. Willis or Mr. DeSantis bring up the name Nathan Wade as a special prosecutor?
I don't think so. I don't recall one. I mean, Nathan is a good organizer. Nathan can organize stuff. I've watched him over the years. So I wasn't surprised that he was acting as a special prosecutor.
And Mr. DeSantis, for the record, who was that? Jeff DeSantis?
Jeff DeSantis.
Do you know who he is?
Oh, yes.
Could you tell us who he is for the record?
Jeff works in the DA's office. I knew him when he worked for Thurber Baker.
You know what his role in the DA's office is?
I have no earthly idea.
Is he in media? Does that sound familiar?
He has done media in the past. Jeff has generally been, I like Jeff, and I'm very close to him, but he's generally been on the other side of my campaign.
All right, so we're talking, the best of your recollection, conference, we don't have the date, I'm asking if you could possibly get it, but the conference you have, Mr. Wade could have been there.
Yes, I'm almost sure he was.
And Ms. Willis, obviously, and Mr. DeSantis was there.
I think Mr. DeSantis was too.
And as far as whether there was anyone else there, you don't have a present recollection?
No.
Okay,
Next time I'll take a picture so I'll have an exact.
Next time, hopefully, you won't have to be here.
Well, hopefully not.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Stockton.
No questions, Judge.
Thank you.
Mr. Durham.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. McDougall.
No questions for the governor,
Mr. Rice.
No questions.
Mr. Gillen.
I've been waiting for this.
I couldn't give up the chance getting up here, Governor. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Craig.
We've done some work in the past together, haven't we?
I consider you to be one of my best friends and a crackerjack lawyer.
Well, I will say to you on the record that I can understand why they came to see you because you're the finest lawyer that I've ever worked with.
Thank you. I need to put you in the next day.
Yeah, there you go. We'll get that. But I got one or two more questions.
Okay.
You and I working together when it's appropriate. We've had no qualms about filing motions to disqualify the DA, have we?
No.
Matter of fact, you and I successfully disqualified the DA out in Cobb County in the Brown case, didn't we?
We did.
So whatever needs to be done should be done.
Represent your client.
You got that. Thank you so much.
Mr. Coturo, are you still with us by Zoom?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, and Mr. Cromwell from Ms. Latham?
No questions.
All right, any redirect, Mr. Abadi?
I got it.
Can this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, is there a way that we could potentially ask through you for that date if you can get it?
The question is, you want the exact date that the meeting occurred?
Yes, if you can get that.
And I'm wondering if we can, if it's really material, the exact date rather than just its proximity to the November 1st hiring. Is that fair? If he knows whether it was far earlier in the year versus maybe closer, would that obviate the need for the exact date?
If you can't get the exact date, of course, we'll take the best we can.
Okay, let's start there.
All right. Let me
think, well,
look
you
around.
may take care of it for us just if we hold in place
I'm not,
here.
I'm not sure of this.
Well, let me try this first, Governor Barnes, before you do a deep dive in the email there. Do you recall what time of year it was when this meeting occurred?
I'm afraid not.
Okay.
I mean, you know how this is. The cases and the days moved together. I had a fellow a few years ago that said I represented him in 1978, and I told him I'd take his word for it.
Now, I gotta ask, you wouldn't do that if it was a question of him saying he just paid you.
No, I would not. I will tell you, I believe lawyers should be well paid, Mr. Seven.
All right. So, sir, is that something?
I'll have to look. It didn't come up right.
Okay. All right. We'll ask this witness to step down subject to recall. And that might be something the state can present with stipulation as well. All right. Thank you, sir. Do we have an update on Mr. Bradley?
Lawyer should be here. He's probably outside.
The last estimation I heard was about 11:30.
Okay. If that's still the case, then Ms. Cross, did you have another witness available?
But having brought over, it's Mr. John Floyd, not the special prosecutor, John Floyd. John Floyd, District Attorney Willis's father.
Okay. And is he heading this way?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Ward, we're just holding in place for taking witnesses out of order. Do you have any updates on Mr. Bradley?
Yes, so he, student's appointment may last a few more hours. However, he's going to make himself available for Zoom if that's possible. Just the easiest way to provide his testimony.
All right. Ms. Merchant?
I was outside looking for them.
Sure. We found them.
I'm sorry.
So he is asked whether the defendants would accept his testimony by Zoom.
As long as I can show him documents if he needs his memory refreshed, then that's fine.
It's not with us.
It is not.
Due respect.
Yeah, the state would have an objection to this witness not appearing in person.
Understood. All right, Mr. Ward, I think we're going to need continual updates from you and also some kind of expectation of what this afternoon is going to look like. I was never informed of a medical appointment, and I think the notice in this hearing indicated it would last at least 2 days. So right now, I think he's in violation of his subpoena.
Again, Your Honor, I believe that the counsel's given notice of his doctor's appointment. He missed one yesterday. He took the stand yesterday. We were told that he would finish his testimony yesterday. I stayed here all day. This appointment started at 9, and it's kind of out of his control with regards to again the issues involved with it, as well as
I'm just trying to get more. I mean, we initially been told maybe it was going to be 9:30 and 10. Do we have any better idea to get a realistic expectation of when we think we can have him here?
If it's Your Honor's wish, come on in and we have to go back to
Is he, without getting too much into the particulars, has he already been seen by the doctor and he's waiting for results, or is he still waiting to be seen by a doctor? I'm just,
both. He's been consulting with the doctor.
And after he gets those results, he was supposed to have another meeting with them today as well. But potentially that meeting could occur later.
After they're able to figure out the purpose of the actual appointment.
Okay. If you can get any kind of an update on how much time they think that those results are going to take. If it's more than an hour or two, I think we would want to start bringing him here, and he can have that follow-up consultation later. All right, thank you, sir.
Did you all want to take up the 1.6 motion?
At this point, I think we've got something else that can occupy our time, and I think we need to move forward with that. All right. Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't learn about the equipment.
Right. Okay. Understood. Ms. Cross.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Abate will,
Mr. John Floyd.
Mr. Floyd, if you could have a seat, sir.
can I approach the witness quickly?
Thank you. I do.
Please state the spell your full name for the court.
My name is John Clifford Floyd III.
Say, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you tell the court, are you currently retired?
Yes, I am.
And prior to being retired, can you tell the court a little bit about, did you work in the legal career? Were you a lawyer?
I was an attorney. I practiced law. I've probably tried 1,000 cases. About 50% of my practice was criminal law. 25% of it was family law. And the rest was whatever walked through the front door could pay for it.
Okay. And
Could we wait 1 second? Governor's come back. He might
I
have-
do. My calendar shows it was October 26, 2021.
All right. And would defense counsel accept it as a stipulation, or is there any follow-up questioning needed on that? Mr. Barnes is still considered under oath on this point. All right. I'll just look for a show of hands or for someone to speak now on Zoom, and hearing none. Thank you, sir. You're excused.
And sir, can you tell the court, are you from Atlanta?
No, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I spent most of my legal career.
I would say in Washington, D.C. was kind of the circle, but I've tried cases all over the country, and I tried the longest. I was the first lawyer to try an international criminal court. I was with the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. I was in trial there for 4.5 years in Arusha, Tanzania, and Hague in the Netherlands.
Okay. When you weren't there, it sounds like your kind of center of gravity was Washington, D.C.
Correct, but I've tried cases in West Virginia, Maryland, Florida, California.
All over.
Yes.
And do you, sir, can you tell the court, do you have any children?
I have one daughter, Fani Willis.
Okay. And I want to direct your attention back to 2019, okay?
Yes.
Back in 2019, can you tell the court, did you move here to Atlanta?
I was living in Johannesburg, South Africa. And unfortunately, for some reasons, I could not get an extended visa. When I retired from the practice of law in 2018, I moved to South Africa. And I had to leave South Africa, and I did then come to Atlanta.
Okay, and do you, sir, remember about the time period in 2019 when you moved in with your daughter here in Atlanta?
It would have been the spring or summer of 2019.
And after you moved here, did you get a driver's license to kind of confirm your residency in Atlanta?
Well, my driver's license for the District of Columbia was going to expire on my birthday, which is in October. And yes, I did get a license here in the state of Georgia.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Good.
But if you could just take a look at what's been marked as Stacey's.
Okay, Your Honor, would you, if you don't mind, my eyes are very bad, which is one of the reasons I retired. And so I need a magnifying glass, so I'll be
Whatever you
constantly, thank you. Yes, I see it was issued on 9/28/2019.
Okay, so before we get there, do you recognize State's Exhibit 2?
Yes, just my driver's license.
And is State's Exhibit 2 a fair and accurate copy of your physical driver's license?
Absolutely.
This time, Your Honor, the state would tender what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2 into evidence.
Seeing no other objections, it's submitted. State's Exhibit 2 is submitted for the record.
Now, and for the record, Your Honor, the state is going to supplement State's Exhibit 2 with a redacted copy of the license. The current copy is not redacted with the address and things of that
All
nature.
right, and do we need to mark that differently in any way?
I will mark it as State's Exhibit 2A.
Perfect.
Now, you talked about when your driver's license was issued. Can you tell the court when was that driver's license here, your Georgia driver's license issued?
It was on 9/28/2019.
Okay, so September 28th, 2019. Now, when you moved into District Attorney Willis's home, who lived there?
Well, my daughter lived there. I lived there, and from time to time, my grandchildren would come.
Okay, and did your grandchildren, were they at school coming and going?
Exactly. I think they were in school in various jurisdictions.
And during the time, how long did you live at or with Miss Willis and at her home here in Fulton County?
She was forced to move after she was elected. I don't know if you want me to go through the whole thing, but that, Your Honor, if Your Honor will indulge me. After she was sworn in on January 1 of 2021. And on or about the 3rd of February, at probably 5:30 a.m. in the morning, there were people outside her house cursing and yelling and calling her the B word and the N word. And just, it was bizarre. Okay.
Sorry. Pause, sir. Mr. Abani. Here's the objection to you.
I would say it's a respect on listener, he was present while all of these things were occurring. But I can.
No, that's, and he's saying he was personally present to hear these things?
Yes.
Okay, overruled.
Okay, and fortunately, the neighbors called the police and disbanded, disbanded the group, and it was just, it was just, I hadn't seen anything exactly like it before.
Okay, and after that happened, can you tell the court that Ms. Willis would have to move from her home?
Yes, she was forced to leave.
And can you tell the court after she was forced to leave, shortly after she was sworn in, did you remain at her home in Fulton County?
Yes, I stayed there really until 2022, I guess.
And from what you described, did you fear for her safety?
Absolutely. I mean, not only did I do that, I mean, the South Fulton police, they brought somebody, a man with a dog, because there have been so many death threats. And they said they were going to blow up the house. They were going to kill her. They were going to kill me. They were going to kill my grandchildren. I mean, on and on and on. It just, it became, and I was concerned for her safety.
And after those concerns came to your attention, and after what you heard and saw that day, you remained at the house?
Yes.
And can you tell the court, with what you just described, why did you remain living at the district attorney's home here in Fulton County?
Mr. Buck?
I believe it's relevant based on a lot of the questions that were asked yesterday of Ms. Willis as to about the security threat and the fact that it was implied that those threats were not necessarily real, in the sense that Mr. Boyd remained in the home. There were many questions about the fact that he remained and her children could still come and go to the house. I think it's relevant based to the testimony that was elicited from defense counsels yesterday.
Overruled.
Well, these South Fulton police, first they put a car in front of the house that was there permanently, a police car. That was thing one. Thing two, they brought a person with a dog, sometimes more than once a day, twice a day, and they would circle the house to look for bombs. I knew that was a house that my daughter had worked for. It was a brand new house. She's the only one who would ever live there. It's a 4-bedroom, brand new house. And somebody needed to protect the house. And I stayed there to basically take care of the house, to take care of the yard, to take care of that. Also, somebody sprayed, again, the B word and the N word on the house. And I don't think my daughter even knew that. I cleaned it off and called the police, and South Fulton police. They have, I'm sure, all the records of all the things that happened. And all of the neighbors, I notified all the neighbors to look out and to watch out. And it was so crazy. I mean, it was just so crazy. We'd have people would show up and park car. There was a guy parked for probably 8 hours out in front of the house. It was just, and we'd call the police, and
Now, at the time that you lived there with Ms. Willis, and I guess even when you remained, so during the time period of 2019 to the end of 2020, are you aware if Ms. Willis was dating someone?
Yeah, she did. She had a boyfriend when I first got there.
And did you meet her boyfriend?
Yeah, I met him often.
Okay, and did you know him by any specific nickname?
Yeah, Deuce.
Okay, and can you tell the court while you were living there, how often would you see him?
Sometimes every day, sometimes, every other day. He was a disc jockey or something, and he had all this paraphernalia that I'd have to move out. There was a thing with the keyboard, things that play music and so forth. So
now, when you moved in 2019, and then throughout the years in your 2020, 2021, had you ever met someone named Nathan Wade?
I did not meet Nathan Wade until 2023, about a year ago, when a reporter by the name of Issakoff interviewed me. I met him. That was the first time I had met him.
You said that was in 2023?
2023, right?
And I know you said you hadn't met him until 2023, but when you were living at Ms. Willis's house in Fulton County, did you ever meet Mr. Wade in the year 2019?
Absolutely not.
How about in the year 2020?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever see Mr. Wade at Ms. Willis's Fulton County house in the year 2021?
Never.
And is it your testimony that the only time or the first time that you met Mr. Wade was in 2023?
Let me say something. Mr. Wade said that he remembers seeing me, and I do remember some banter. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and there's kind of this thing that goes on between fraternities. And Mr. Wade is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, and they're, you know, so they. I do remember there was some kind of banter when my daughter was sworn in to be district attorney between me and a couple of guys, and he said he remembers me. I don't remember him.
And prior to that experience that you're talking about, as well as, I guess, your official meeting in 2023, had you ever even heard his name?
No, never.
I don't think I have any further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Merchant?
Yes, thank you.
Fine. How are you, counsel?
Good, thank you. Just got a couple questions. On Monday, we heard you were in California. Do you have a place in California?
People always ask me about where do I live. I guess I live right here, sitting in this seat right now. But yes, the answer is I have a place in Los Angeles.
Okay, you do. All right. So do you share time or split time between Los Angeles and Georgia?
Actually, I'm working on a documentary film, and I'm supposed to be being filmed not for this trial, but I'm supposed to be being filmed right now. It was planned, and we had to stop it because they asked me to come here. But the answer is I'm working on a documentary, and I'll be in California until I finish the documentary, if we don't have another actor strike and we don't have another writer strike.
So do you own property in California?
No, I don't. I live with a friend of mine.
Live with a friend of yours. Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you first move? Let me qualify with the dates. Did you spend any time in 2019 in California?
No, and the reason I didn't is that when I first came here, the answer is no, I did not. What happened was COVID. Once COVID hit, I was just paralyzed. I couldn't go any place. I couldn't go anything. I mean, I'm a theater buff. I used to go to theater at least once a week. But when COVID hit, I just couldn't. I couldn't go to the dentist, which I need to do. Or, you know, it was just a thing. So I was just stuck. I was just stuck there.
I may be wrong, but I believe COVID hit in 2020. So I was asking about 2019. In 2019, did you spend any time in California?
Before COVID was even here in the United States, remember I lived in South Africa and I've traveled the world. I knew COVID was coming before. I knew COVID was around before. They may have announced it in 20, but in fact, I knew about it and I knew what was happening in 19.
Okay, so let's walk through 2019 then. You said you moved here in September. So
no, I didn't say that. I moved here probably prior to September. In September is when I got the driver's license. I probably moved in the springtime.
I'm sorry, you did. You said spring, summer. I see that in my notes. So spring, summer 2019 is when you moved here. So up until spring, summer 2019, where did you live?
I lived in Johannesburg. Well, I lived in Washington, D.C., 2018. I had planned to retire for the rest of my life in South Africa. I had worked for Nelson Mandela and the Free Mandela and get that. And someone I'd gone to law school, he had located there after Mandela was freed from prison and became president. I was going to live there for the rest of my life, but unfortunately, because of political reasons, I could not stay in South Africa, and I was forced, in a sense, to come back to the United States.
Okay. So let's just focus in on the period from, let's just start with October 2019. Okay, we'll call that the relevant period. October 2019 until the end of 2019. Were you in Georgia every single day of that year?
Absolutely.
So now let's move to 2020. Okay, and every single day, before I move on, every single day in 2019, you slept at your daughter's house, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's start in 2020. All right, so 2020, the entire year, did you travel anywhere?
No.
You didn't travel at all that year?
No.
So,
and I didn't go to the movies, which upset me also.
So that entire year, 2020, you remained here in Georgia?
Right.
In 2021, did you do any traveling?
No.
So when did you move back, or when did you start this documentary film in Los Angeles?
What I had been doing to occupy time was I was writing my own memoir. As I delved into my family background, I discovered something, and that's what got me to working on the documentary. So I want you to understand what was going on in my life. I pitched I have a movie script called Bad Blood. I have a movie script we're trying to sell. So I tried to sell that, and I just happened to mention something that happened during the civil rights movement. SNCC, it's called the SNCC 5. The legendary Peter Fitzsimmons was interested, and so with Peter Fitzsimmons and Leah Smith, we're now doing the documentary. So
I don't want to interrupt you, but what I was asking was when you moved to Los Angeles, not what you moved there for.
Well, you keep saying moved. I haven't moved to Los Angeles. I spent more time in California, in Oakland, if you really want to just be, because Peter is basically San Francisco based. So we're working on the documentary.
Okay.
I was in Los Angeles because I was going to the Pan-African Film Festival. And that's why we were there. And the way Hollywood works is, you know, when you make connections, and film festivals are a place to try to sell ideas and meet people and organize things.
You still own property in Washington, D.C., correct?
No, I don't.
You don't own property at 1467 Roxana Road Northwest?
That's where I used to live.
That's where you used to live. Did
Right.
you own that property?
Yes.
Okay. And you owned that property when you moved here in 2019?
Yes.
And you owned it in 2020, correct?
Well, now you talk about a very complicated issue. I left the property. There was a dispute between me, and I had gotten a reverse mortgage company. And there was a dispute between me and that. And I just, I walked away from it.
Okay. You walked away from it with almost $300,000?
Yeah, what is the relevance of that?
Where he lived and registered to vote. That's what they brought in. So that's.
Why is the money he got from the sale relevant at all?
It's the only proof I have of that he owned that address. So I can move on now. Okay. When did you sell that property?
I didn't. The reverse mortgage company took it.
Oh, okay. So in 2019, when you got your driver's license here,
Yes.
the next day you registered to vote, correct?
I think it may have been the same day, but maybe it was the next day. I don't remember.
But you didn't own property here in Georgia that day?
No, I was living with my daughter.
You said that you met Mr. Wade, that you remember you met in 2023, right? That was the first time you
Correct.
remember? Okay. And I wasn't really clear. You said something about meeting him. Was it with Mr. Isikoff, or did Mr. Isikoff tell you?
No, I was being interviewed by Mr. Isikoff.
Okay.
And he walked in, and I met him. That was the first time. He walked into the office, and
Where were you being interviewed?
at the district attorney's office.
And Mr. Wade walked into that interview?
Yes.
And so Ms. Willis had not told you about Mr. Wade prior to that?
Absolutely not.
So she didn't tell you anything about their relationship before you met him that day?
No.
But Mr. Wade remembers meeting you in 2020?
He said that at my daughter's swearing in. I do remember that we having some banner about fraternities, but other than that,
Oh, wait, your daughter's swearing in. Okay.
right.
That's all I have. Just one moment. Nothing else. Thank you.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, counsel?
I'm fine. I'll try to ask you some specific questions if we could, okay?
And I'll give specific answers if I can.
Perfect.
Okay.
The driver's license address, I'm not going to publish, that is State's Exhibit number 2. But is the address on that driver's license the home that you're referring to as your daughter's in South Fulton?
Absolutely.
Okay. It was unclear to me, maybe no one else, but it's unclear to me, when did you stop living at what I would call your daughter's home in South Fulton?
Things got so bad and threats got so many, even against me, that the house became basically uninhabitable. You know, I got tired of sleeping in one room one day and no one that. I would say December of 2022, something like that.
December of 2022.
Right. That's about right. Yeah.
Now, let me change and go back for another date. You had indicated, and I didn't hear it, when was your daughter, Miss Willis, when was she sworn in as district attorney?
On January 1, 2021.
Okay. And did you indicate that there was an incident, and I know you've described it, was that incident on February the 3rd, 2021?
That's my best recollection.
Okay. So my question then is, after February 3rd of 2021, how much longer did Miss Willis stay at the house before she moved somewhere else?
Very short period of time, and I cannot be precise, but I would bet all the money I ever made, it wasn't more than a month and a half, if that long.
Okay, so we're talking about, best of your recollection, end of February into the beginning of March, give or take, of 2021, when Miss Willis would have moved to a different location.
Exactly.
Okay. And did Miss Willis return to the house, that is, the house that you were in, at any point in time that you can remember?
From time to time, she and her security might show up for her to pick something up or take something or something, but she always would come with her security.
Okay, my question was poorly worded, I apologize. Did she come back permanently to her house?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay,
absolutely not.
So as far as you're aware, that once Miss Willis left the house, her house, South Fulton House, so the record's clear, in either late February or into March of 2021, best of your recollection, she's not returned to that home to live.
No, it became uninhabitable. I mean, it just, I mean,
that's okay.
I would have to walk around that house looking out of every window. I made a habit of having to walk around the whole house. I got lights so that if somebody would come at night in the back, so that those kinds of reflecting lights, I had those put up.
I don't mean to again cut you off.
Okay.
All I was interested in is whether she had ever returned.
No, the answer is no.
Okay. Now, when Miss Willis, when your daughter left the home, time period, end of February, beginning of March, give or take 2021, do you know where she moved to?
No, and I didn't want to know. I intentionally did not want to know because I was not, if somebody stuck a gun to my head and I could tell them, I wasn't going to tell them anyway, or I'd have made up something, but I didn't want to know.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that if you didn't want to know, you never visited her at the place that she moved to?
Oh, I never did.
Never did?
Never did.
Okay. Do you know how long she stayed at the first place that she went to after she left her house before she moved to a second place?
What I know, and this is hearsay, counsel, is that my daughter has had to move something like 4 times.
But do you know any potential?
No, I don't know any place. I was taken one time for Christmas Day. I've only seen my daughter, and this is very hard for me to say, but during the period my daughter left, I've only seen my daughter 13 times. because I can't, and we've never seen each other more than maybe 3 hours because of, you know, the nightmare threats against her and me.
And I understand that, and from the perspective of being a father myself, I understand what that means. So I'm going to move away from that. I was just trying to get an idea of date-wise, okay? So let me try to get one more date. In 2023, when you were being interviewed by one of the gentlemen that wrote the book at the DA's office, and Mr. Wade came in, can you give us, other than 2023, what the date would be?
I'm sorry, I can't counsel.
How about spring, summer, any idea?
I would guess spring or summer, but I can't. I don't. I'm sorry.
And you've already indicated, at least to your recollection, that was the first time that you'd met Mr. Wade.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you about that. I want to go to Miss Willis's boyfriend that you referenced. Okay, you met Miss Willis's boyfriend, as you've characterized it, when you came here in 2019.
Correct.
And you met him on one occasion, several occasions?
Oh, no, I saw him often.
Oh, so you mean there was no secret that she was dating this man?
Not from me.
Not from you.
And not, he was a disc jockey of some kind. I think he had a government job during the day. I don't know what it was, but apparently he would do weddings and so forth and so on. He was a disc jockey, play music. So he had all his stuff was always in the way, and I was always having to try to push it aside. And, you know, anyway.
But Ms. Willis, your daughter didn't keep him from you, correct?
No.
No, I mean, there was no doubt
I mean, we lived in, my daughter and I lived in the same house. I mean, you know, he came and went, you know.
Right. Now, when did you learn that your daughter had a romantic personal relationship with Mr. Wade?
Well, about 7 weeks ago, when it, as a matter of fact, I just found out when other folks found out. Okay.
But as your daughter, as I understand it, never told you one time in the year of 2022 that she was dating Mr. Wade, correct?
That's correct.
And until recently, you didn't know from anyone, including your daughter, that she dated Mr. Wade, correct?
That's correct.
That is, whatever the relationship is between father and daughter, she kept that a secret from you, correct?
Correct.
That's all I need to know.
Mr. Stockton.
No.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Correct.
Good morning, Council.
When your daughter moved or left the house that she owned, did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, no. See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? You know, I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash. And I trained, you always keep some cash, because I've been places, and just because of the color of my skin, for example, I took a fellowship at Harvard when my daughter was just, if I might, Your Honor, when I was just, she was just, you know, maybe 3 years old. And I remember going to a restaurant in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I had a American Express credit card and maybe a Visa or whatever. And I had a lot of what they call traveler's checks. I don't even know if they still have traveler's checks, but traveler's checks. And there was a sign said, you know, with the credit card, for whatever reasons, the man would not take my American Express credit card. So I pulled out my Visa card, and he wouldn't take my Visa card. So then I pulled out my traveler's checks. He said, we don't take checks. Now these were traveler's checks. This was money. I had a $10 bill. I'll never forget this as long as I live. And he said, the bill for my wife at the time, Fani's mother, Fani, and myself was like $9.95. And I had a $10 bill. That was all that. I always remember that. But even before that, I've always kept cash, and I've told my daughter, you keep 6 months worth of cash always. For example, I had 3 safes in my house. I put some of my clients' stuff there too, things I didn't want other lawyers to be, because you're always in a firm, and I knew that there were special conditions. So some of my clients' things I would bring home, put them in the safe. But I've always kept safes. And as a matter of fact, I gave my daughter her first cash box and told her always keep some cash.
So is that a yes?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's all I got, Judge.
Mr. Durham.
No questions.
Mr. McDougald.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Rice.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Gillen.
It's still morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, counsel. How are you?
Just fine. Just a few questions following up. When you were talking about when you learned about Mr. Wade and your daughter, correct?
Correct.
Now, did your daughter tell you in around October of 2022 that she had gone on a Caribbean cruise with Mr. Wade to the Bahamas?
The answer is I knew that my daughter had gone, but I did not know who she went with or what the circumstances were. So I knew that she had gone out of town, but I didn't know with whom.
I see. And did she tell you in November of 2022 that she had gone to Aruba and stayed at a Hyatt Regency resort there in Aruba for 3 days with Mr. Wade? Did she tell you that?
The answer was, again, I knew she went out of town. I didn't know where she went. I knew she was going out of town. She told me she was going out of town. I think she might have said she was going out of the country or something. She'd be going. But other than that, that was all.
Okay. And did she tell you in March of 2023 that she was going to Belize for several days with Mr. Wade?
The same answer, that I knew she would tell me she was going out of town, and she may or may not have told me where she was going, but she'd be gone for a couple of days.
Okay. Now in 2023, you were in many days you would be out in California, correct?
Some days I'd be in California, correct.
Okay. Well, did she tell you in May of 2023 that she was traveling to Napa Valley with Mr. Wade, so maybe y'all could see each other when she visited California with Mr. Wade?
The answer is no.
And so the first time that you ever met Mr. Wade or learned about Mr. Wade, to your recollection, was in 2023?
That's correct.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Kachuroff. On Zoom.
Yes, Ron, just a couple quick questions. Good morning, sir. I know I can't see you.
I can't see you either,
We
but
can take a moment.
good morning, counsel.
We take a moment. Let's just pause, see if we can change the screens to show Mr. Kachuroff. Sorry. We need.
Your Honor, I'm on a phone, so it's kind of difficult.
Can you turn your screen on though?
I'm trying to. Does that work?
Just to hold one more moment. All right, there we go. You can proceed, Mr. Kachuroff.
Sir, you seem to know about the issue of cash in this transaction. You said it was a black thing. How did you know that the cash was going to be an issue in this testimony?
Because I was asked for it and I was prepped by the lawyers and they asked me about it. What else?
And did you speak with Mr. Wade about your testimony?
No.
Did you speak with your daughter about your testimony?
She may have been present when the lawyers were. I really don't remember.
If Mr. Wade and your daughter were dating, you wouldn't have known that unless your daughter told you.
What do you, maybe I'm not understanding your question, counsel. So maybe you want to restate. What is it that you're asking me?
Yeah, if it wasn't clear, I can re-ask the question. I'll rephrase it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Mr. Wade, if Mr. Wade and your daughter were dating, you wouldn't have known that unless your daughter told you.
I did not know that they were dating. And when were you talking about the cash? I didn't know that. I don't know what you're asking me. What I told my child from the time she was a child is always have some money. Always have some money. If you go on a date so that people don't try to stick you and you want to leave whoever, always keep some cash, okay?
Mr. Floyd, you answered the question that the attorneys prepped you for that. So that's all I wanted to know.
Anything else, Mr. Sheriff?
That's it, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Cromwell.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Abadi?
Your Honor. Mr. Floyd, now it wasn't common for your daughter to confide in you about her romantic life at all.
No, and I haven't confided in her about mine before when I had one, okay?
And you wouldn't have known about her boyfriend, the disc
Hey,
jockey.
Debs.
Is that an objection?
I think that might have just been still off mute.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
Now, you wouldn't have known about her boyfriend, the disc jockey, had you not been living with her, correct?
That's correct.
I'll allow overruled.
I have nothing further.
Did he answer the question?
He said that's correct.
All right, by show of hands, any redirect on those points only. Ms. Merchant.
I just want to know when you were prepped by the lawyers, when this prep session was.
I just got off the plane on, what was it, Tuesday night? I think I was probably drooling at the mouth. I was so tired. So it must have been, I got in Wednesday. It must have been Wednesday.
Okay. And did you talk about any of the testimony from yesterday or watch any news reports or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. Google, you can't cut the TV on without seeing this. The first thing, and I listen to conservative radio a lot, and, you know, last night for 5 hours, all they talked about was this case.
So you were aware of what the testimony your daughter gave yesterday was?
Yeah, unless you don't cut the radio on, unless you don't cut the television on, unless you don't read the AJC or any other, the New York Times or whatever, which I do every day, of course.
So is it fair to say nobody instructed you that you were under the rule of sequestration?
Right, and I'm not under subpoena either.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Seeing and hearing none, thank you, Mr. Floyd.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. It's a pleasure to appear in front of Your Honor.
Take care. Thank you. All right, Ms. Cross, let me check in. Was the state planning to call additional witnesses?
Not at this time, Your Honor. We're again trying to accommodate if there's a
Sure.
lapse in schedule to be able to this afternoon. But right now, that was the last witness.
Okay, so even if Mr. Bradley testifies to some extent, it's still the potential that the state has no further witnesses?
I anticipate at least one more will be available this afternoon, but that would be it.
Okay, so there are potentially more state's witnesses. All right.
Judge, before we move on, I'd move to strike the last witness's testimony.
All right, so I think the rule is invoked and the instruction was for the parties to tell all witnesses subpoenaed or expected to appear about the rule. I don't think the remedy is necessarily striking. I think it can go also to this credibility as well. So to that extent, unless Ms. Cross, you want something else to be heard on that, point is made. All right. Do we have an update for Mr. Bradley?
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, he should be here at 12:20.
Okay, then what I think we should do is have these preliminary conversations about privilege, see if we can make any headway, and then take our afternoon break. So to that end, counselors, I don't know if you just want to argue in place there or go to the table, whatever makes you comfortable. But Mr. Chopra, I think maybe it was relayed to you since you weren't in the court earlier this morning.
Oh my God, that is Bimal Chopra.
About the distinction between the privilege and Rule 1.6, and it sounded like you wanted.
I was like, why does that look like Bimal Chopra?
My attention. I apologize because I don't have. Thanks.
What do you need?
Well, a copy of the case in front of me would be helpful, but it's not necessary. It would just take me a second to keep looking at my phone and responding before.
Whatever you need to do.
BC is in the house, guys. I was like, that looked like him. Turn your volume way up. Sure, Nesto connection.
There's a microphone there at the jury box. You can
Yeah,
try
can
to
you get on the microphone, Bimal Chopra?
either try to
Get-
lift that microphone up and speak in the jury box. or
Yeah,
make your
get
way
in the
over to
mic.
podium or table.
What?
better.
All right, and no, that was authority provided by Mr. Sadow over our morning recess, and I think that was indicated to go more towards a potential crime fraud argument. I don't think we've really gotten there yet.
It's not crime fraud per se, it's the same notion. It's fraud on the court, different proposition.
Okay.
But yes, and to attorney-client privilege waiver,
Right.
1.6 confidential and secret.
The case that I had cited to this morning, showing the distinction between the two, was tenant healthcare. So that's where we were on the threshold issue. Did you have something that you wanted to address on that?
I have not been able to review that, Your Honor. I was unfortunately.
All right, Mr. Ward, your co-counsel with Mr. Bradley? Remind me why you are here.
You just assisted Bradley.
Okay, so you are co-counsel on this.
This morning when you were asking where he was, I had to make sure everybody knew. That's what I was doing.
Okay.
Oh, this is, Judge is saying it's 10.
Right, and the citation for that is 273 Georgia 206.
Judge,
And I'll give you time to review that. In the meantime, what other things did you want me to know? And perhaps at this point, we just take our break now, unless you also want to talk about the questionings that are provided by Ms. Merchant, seeing if there's anything we can achieve.
So that I can be clear, it is apparent that at this point, we're going to go into whether or not 1.6 provides privilege for Mr. Wade, even though he has specifically stated that he does not waive that privilege. Therefore, it would be incumbent upon the court to issue an order to demand that Mr. Bradley, over and above the privilege afforded in 1.6, is required to testify. Is that correct?
That's right. That's what we covered this morning.
And so I would ask the court, is the court then going to travel under the fraud exception?
We haven't quite gotten there. We haven't decided whether attorney-client privilege applies. I think there's some other things that we would have to do to, I think we got held up yesterday on 1.6. As I understood it, I was waiting to hear from you whether we are now beyond that. And then if we're in the land of attorney-client privilege and only attorney-client privilege, so Rule 505, then I think Mr. Sadow has some arguments on crime fraud. And I think there's also just the general arguments of, does it exist? Were certain statements in furtherance? Does Mr. Bradley have any knowledge?
Let's stop for just a second because we got to address, you've been gifted, guys. Tony Smith came through and dropped some coins on you good people. Bougie gang, stand up. Tony Smith came through, and Jackson Tabasco, you just got gifted, okay? Kai B, you got gifted. Finesse has been gifted, okay? Tam, Chrissy Gen X, Money Mind Manifest, Sandra, you have been gifted. Jay Blake, Gail Smithson, sis, you got gifted. Monica, we're not going to leave you out, boo-boo. You got gifted. Thank you, Tony. Hey, boo-boo. To our good sis, just dropped some coins off on a Friday. Sis just dropped me a sticker, okay? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. This has been so much fun, guys. And it was funny because I saw Bimal and I was like, that looks like Bimal Chopra, but what in the world would he be doing at the election interference case? See, Nesto, that just proves how dumb Nesto is, because clearly Bimal Chopra got you out of trouble before, but you got this wretched wench over here advising you. And this guy has real clients, and maybe your dumb behind could be out of jail right now, Nesto. But look, okay, let's finish up, and we're probably going to shut this live down. And then, unless you guys want me to leave it going, but I'm thinking we'll shut it down and we'll start fresh. after the break to see what they're going to talk about. This can't probably, I'm sure the judge is going to want to end this today, but we'll see. Because of course the trial continues. However, I'm sure this hearing, the motion to quash and the motion to disqualify, discredit, and dismantle, I'm adding 20 on 10 on that. I would imagine they would probably try to wrap this up today, but let's see.
Knowledge independent of those.
Certainly, and in order to keep the court abreast, yes, we are still traveling under, there should be a privilege afforded to Mr. Wade under 1.6, and we are aware of how they will.
Is he Mr. Wade's attorney? I need to see. We need to investigate that. Is Nate Wade's attorney Bimal Chopra, and dumbass Nesto had Bimal Chopra, and he's being represented by the special prosecutor in the he's representing the special prosecutor in the Trump case? Is that what's actually happening here? I need to look up who Bimal Chopra is representing on today. And this is crazy.
Try to convince the court that that should be overcome. So I hopefully I can read this case in less than 5 minutes.
All right, that's fine. Anything, I guess, as he reads that, let's do this. Assuming we do get beyond 1.6, if you can work with me here, anything we want to add to that?
I'm afraid I would have to hear what the arguments were that got us past 1.6. Judge, I'm not here to insinuate to the court that we would do something else. I don't know.
But there was a line of questioning that Ms. Merchant decided to write out and share with the parties. Were there any initial thoughts, comments, reactions to that? Again, just trying to make sure we make the best use of Mr. Bradley's time once he arrives.
Your Honor, I just want to say that that might just reiterate that my client is not attorney-client privilege. The questions that we reviewed this morning, Mr. Bradley is not able to testify about anything relating to Wade's marriage or dating history after December 2018. That's going to be the operative date. Nor does any of the questions does Mr. Bradley cite to any external knowledge or sources. Anything he will say would be derived entirely from privileged communications with our client. So we just want to renew our objection.
Okay, so certainly the assertion of the privilege is confirmed and for the record. And I think, again, this is where we got held up yesterday, is that I know you're asserting that certain answers to these questions would be covered by privilege. I think there's still some boxes we would need to check before we can confirm that. And we'd have to check those boxes with Mr. Bradley before we can get there. Okay, if there's nothing else, then let's break until 1 o'clock. All right, thank you all.
Okay, so we're waiting for a guy, Bradley, who allegedly had a doctor's appointment. Okay. He should have known he was supposed to be in court. The judge said he could be in violation of subpoena for not showing up. Apparently, Mr. Bradley told everybody that he had a doctor's appointment. I guess they felt like it was okay. They did change up the schedule, so now he's looking bad. I would assume that they're probably texting him and telling him to wrap up as quickly as possible, because doctor's appointments don't take all day unless something's really, really wrong. So, and even though doctors don't see one patient a day, like, let's think about it. Doctors, you know what I mean? Unless he had some sort of workup clinic or something that he had to be, he's getting a treatment or something of that nature. So, and that can happen. So, he is Bradley's attorney. Okay. So he's the attorney for Bradley. There's some association with Wade. I think they're still trying to establish the nexus of the relationship with Miss Fani. I truly doubt they're going to be back at 1 o'clock, but let's just say for shits and giggles, they are. We'll be back at 1 o'clock. This was very interesting. And the fact that we have gotten so immersed into the Atlanta, Fulton County legal scene that we have seen, on tonight, we need to just have a wrap up of what the hell happened at Fulton County Court this week. Like, the shenanigans amiss. Okay. Wow. Okay. That we've gotten so entrenched in Fulton County that we know the lawyers, we know the players, we know the shenanigans. We are starting to know the legal. I'm not even in Atlanta. And we are really getting to see some of this landscape of Fulton County. It's quite interesting. Fulton County needs a whole, well, Fulton County is a reality show at this moment, right? Hot Lana's in the house. Okay. Guys, this was fun this morning. This was low-key fun this morning, right, Vicky? Okay, guys. Look, let me handle some business. You guys get a lunch, you get a snack. I will go ahead. Once I take this down, I'll start another live. Which this is a good thing. You know what? Look, did phone calls from prison drop the two? Let me see. There was a sneak peek in members. Hold on. There was a sneak peek in members. Let me do a little phone calls from prison plug. They posted a sneak peek and they said it was a sneak. I'll just let's see. No announcement. There was a sneak peek, and Dre is basically confronting Nesto on Sonya and that mouth of hers. And I'm just waiting to hear Nesto lie. So if you don't, I've told you guys, if you're not on their Patreon, I don't know what you're doing. It might be in their members too. I'm not sure. Let me go see. I would suggest either, pick whichever one you think works best for you. But it's definitely worth the money to have one or the other. Because they definitely deliver on that TT, right? Let's see. Yeah. So you know what? You don't really have to pick. You don't really have to, like, it's posted on both. So if you have PCFP's membership or you have PCFP Patreon, go check it out. It's a sneak peek. She says she's working on finishing up the full video now, which will include a call from Dre and a follow-up call from Sonya. Thanks for being a member. Okay. So yeah, go check it out. Get your membership. And like I said, it's worth it. And those are our friends. And that is a YouTube channel we love to watch. So once they drop it, we can check it out. But Dre calls Sir out on the foolishness. And I'm just waiting to hear if Nesto tries to lie. Anyway, we'll be back with this very interesting and juicy hearing. And for some of you guys might be wondering, like, why so personal? Why so this? Why so that? There are ramifications. There have been forms filed. There have been divorces filed. Fani has a very important job overseeing a very, any district attorney, any community that's being serviced by a district attorney, it's important, right? We saw this with the Alex Murdaugh case. He goes back like 4 generations of basically district attorneys. They called them solicitors in South Carolina, and it was generational alleged nepotism and corruption, allegedly, right? And the fact that Alex Murdaugh's father was in the seat of legal power, it seems like a blind eye was turned to some shenanigans, at least with Alec and potentially even his and some others. I'm gonna just say it like that. Anyway, they're trying to really check a bunch of boxes. And like I said, this is an effort to dismantle the special prosecutor's desk that was hired by Miss Fani, right? And maybe she didn't see anything wrong with what she was doing. And maybe there is nothing wrong with what she was doing. Technically, it looks bad. You know what I'm saying? Technically, it looks bad. Did she break any laws? Maybe not. You know what I mean? Now, Mr. Wade is in the middle of a divorce. His wife is looking for money. And I don't mean money like in a bad way. They're getting divorced. They're splitting assets. And potentially, if he has been lavishing his girlfriend with monies out of the marital home, and he basically testified by signing documents, or he attested to by signing documents and disclosures, that could be problematic because you're lying on documents that were officially that were notarized and published to the court for a legal process that is in that is in process now. That is why Ms. Fani, has been subpoenaed to be deposed in his divorce. Okay. This was a secret relationship. She's a manager. She's in leadership. She's his boss. She placed him over other employees. Like, we've talked about all of this. She even kind of had an inappropriate relationship with Miss Yurti, because Miss Yurti was an employee of hers, but she's renting her apartment. Maybe they were trying to establish with her father, when her father was like, yes, it was this threat, it was that threat, it's the house is uninhabitable right now. Maybe it's also because the severity of the situation, you're renting a condo from an employee and you're paying her cash. And maybe she did need to be untraceable. I would have rather heard her say, I wanted there to not be a trail in case my accounts got hacked. And then people could kind of decipher based on the time periods when I'm paying rent. So I felt like I needed to maybe go a little stealth, because my security and where I'm providing home for my children, all of those things. I think sometimes we assume that we assume that people understand the reason why we're doing things. Just like Fani's dad had to just go ahead and say it. It's a Black thing. I don't think it's just a Black thing. I think it's a Latino thing. Maybe it's a non-white thing. I don't know. I'm sure white people stash money too. But I just know, as a Caribbean person, and knowing lots of people of diverse backgrounds, we all keep money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, however you keep it is how you keep it. But I don't know anybody who doesn't have emergency money. Like, with what just happened and the pandemic and anything, you go into a grocery store, just imagine the nights that you go into the gas station, right? And they're like, credit card machine's not working, it's cash only. Or when you get to Walmart and they're like, yeah, no credit cards. And the ATM now is out of cash because everybody just went and got some out the machine. Right? Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not, it's definitely, well, it is certainly a Black thing, but it's also certainly a brown. It's a thing. It's a thing. It really is. People don't talk about money enough, but it's definitely a thing. Okay. It's also a woman thing, because yes, very early on going out with friends, my parents, $10, $20, make sure you got money in your pocket. When we go out, I always make sure my daughter has her purse. Like, sis, you need a purse, a pouch, a wallet, or something, because one day you're going to have an ID. And I don't want you trying to get into the habit of carrying a purse at 18. Ma'am carries a purse at 12. Okay. One day you're going to get an ID card. You're going to get a driver's license. You need to have that, right? My dad said, God forbid, you might not be able to speak for yourself one day. People need to know who you are. And he meant from you could get hit by a car, you could be in an accident, something could happen to you. You need to have your ID. You need to have your ID and you need to have $20. And before cell phones, it used to be you need to have some change in your purse so you can make a phone call, right? Now it's your phone needs to be charged, or you need to have your spare battery, all of those things. I mean, Fani was talking that real, especially to women my age, because I can so relate to what she was saying. Now, Fani makes money in a paycheck. Fani might be embarrassed to say, I go to the bank and I get $2,000 and I put it in my underwear drawer, or I put it in my safe, or I put it in my jewelry box. I mean, hello? You know what I'm saying? Like, hello? Oh, look, let me tell you something. Any of you guys who don't know this practice, look up envelope stuffing. Like, there's envelope stuffing thing. There's people who do a whole practice of saving with envelopes on YouTube. These videos get like 1 million views. People stash cash across cultural lines. Maybe some people just want to trust the banks, and there's nothing wrong with the banks. And I'm not saying be unbanked at all, because you've got to be able to move money electronically, but you got to have options, right? If you know me, you know you got to have what? Options. Okay, that's the flex. That is the true flex in life, is that you have options, right? And Sir told a very true story that at one time he was not able to transact what he needed to make happen because he was being discriminated against for whatever reason. They were not trying to accept his money until he pulled out that good old greenback. Okay. And that was it, and that's all, you know. Anyway, I the bit obviously testimony of the day. We had some two seniors up. We had the ex-governor, and we had Fani's very accomplished dad as well. And I was here for it. I was very here for it. And I appreciated that testimony very much. I thought it was excelente and very much like, go seniors. I really appreciated that, because these are people living their lives. They are still talking about working well into their 70s and 80s, and doing their damn thing out here. Dad is out here doing a documentary and a movie, and the former governor is still practicing law and taking up cases, right? And then we had a segue over to the YouTube streets because Bimal Chopra entered the chat in the Fani Willis case. I'm still kind of like, whoa, okay. Anyway, I'm going to go and handle some business real quick. I'm going to set up another live right away so you guys can come clock in. Hit the like button for me. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. So if you do want to drop into the chat, you can do so. Who's walking around with one boob bigger than other? Is that Fani? Fani, okay. Since you guys want to talk about it, she walked into the court and I immediately noticed sis didn't have on her best underclothes. Okay. Had she known, but you know what? I don't think she gave two shits about it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, sir, are you talking about the governor's pants? Look, Fani, so who else has one boob bigger than another? Look, undergarments are very important. We'll just say it like that. The fashion, I loved her dress yesterday. I thought it was cute. Cash in our bra. Oh, okay. So yes, that is definitely a hiding place of money. Okay, in your bra. Okay. Her bra was on strike. I wonder, I'm sure she's not carrying her cash around like that. Fani needs to hopefully Fani's having a better Friday. Looks like she may have lost weight. She looks good. Fani's very pretty. I know she must be losing a lot of sleep and she's probably very worried. I think this is just my opinion, and I'm sure the legal community could say something else. No matter how this goes for her, it's not going, she may not necessarily be happy. Let's say if it goes in a way that she's not happy, she's still going to be okay. Ma'am handled herself like a champ yesterday, and she didn't need to sit there and cry. She didn't need to sit there. She did what she needed to do. She's a tough cookie, and she was giving what the team was giving her, and I do respect that. I do feel like it could have went a little better if she toned it down just a little bit, but I wasn't in the hot seat yesterday and she was, and I understand why she had to give what she was giving, because they are not just trying to discredit you, they are trying to dismantle. And the best thing to do is to just admit, like, yes, I fucked up. Yes, we covered up, because it's not always the crime, it's the cover up. And the sooner that they can just get it on the table, what happened, sort through it. You didn't break any laws. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just going to assume they didn't break any laws. But the gray area is probably not looking amazing for her just from some rules and regulations standpoint. But yeah, just lay it on the table so they can sort through the mess and keep it moving. But I think she's going to be okay. I think she's really going to be okay. And I think she did okay. And I think as a woman, she represented well. Like I said, she could have just toned it down just a notch but they were giving her the business and she had to give them the business back. I hope she does. That is not the case. I don't know for sure, Tiffany. I think if there is some egregious lies and some breaking of the law, it's possible she could see some sanctions. But as far as like losing her license, I'm not really sure. I don't know that she did anything to jeopardize her license. She could have done some things to jeopardize her job because there was definitely some inappropriate blurring and bleeding over. On a couple different fronts. You know what I mean? So her job, but she's going to be okay. I mean, she'll be fine. I think she's going to be okay. Ma'am is smart. She's very, very smart. She messed up. Maybe she got caught up in the moment. And I'm telling you, if you're dealing with someone like that, Mr. Nate, and you put everything like I'm just going to say, I mean, he is kind of winning in this relationship. I mean, I think he's even making more than her. He's definitely making more than her ADAs. And he was getting the putty cat. And he was traveling with her. And he didn't have to pay for anything. You know what I mean? They're alleging that they split everything 50-50. And she showered him big for his 50th. Like, Sir was winning. Okay? Sir was... it was giving like winning. Okay. So I don't know. I think this probably wasn't the best relationship for her, unfortunately. He was making a lot of money, like because he's getting a certain rate and then he's working a lot of overtime and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's been a lot of money. She says she makes over 200, but he's making over 600. Okay. So, I hate this for her. I really do. And I think that it's unfortunate she's getting caught out here. I hope it, like, if she has to sidestep and step off the case, let the case, I don't know, let the case happen. If they have to stop everything and re-indict and all that stuff, I don't know. We're going to see how it happens. Anyway, guys, let me go ahead and handle this business real quick. They say we're coming back at 1:00. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. We're going to end this and then I'll start up another one and you guys can reconvene in the chat. And I'll be back like right at about 1:00. Okay. Let me take this down now so I can handle this business. All right. I'll see you guys a little bit later. This was so much fun. I'll see you guys back in just a minute. And go ahead and when you see the live posted, just go ahead and check in and click on the notify me. That way it'll notify you specifically about this individual live. Okay. All right, guys, take care. Have a good afternoon. We'll be back in about 30 minutes or so. I doubt they're going to start on time. Sir is probably trying to get a helicopter. Mr. Bradley, who's supposed to be out of his doctor's appointment, he's probably trying to get there as fast as he can before the judge cites him for violating his subpoena. Okay, guys, I'll see you later.